Are we ready to get crazy again? Because
Yes.
I feel like this week our guest, Carrie James, is the definition of loosey-goosey, that fun kind of crazy, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, man. This is a guy who totally is just living his best life and gets it. You know, he's appreciative of everything that he has, and I just feel like he's got the right approach, not only to his career, but just to in general in life and how to do it. And it's such a fun conversation. He gets so deep at points, but then just lightens it up, and we find ourselves laughing. I mean, this is the kind of interview that we love to do.
Yeah, completely agree. And I mean, yeah, his outlook on life is honestly amazing, enough to where we want to have him back on the other podcasts as well. So that would be very fun. But man, oh man, this conversation was very fun. But that's a little bit later on the show. Now, let's get a little crazy. Hello, everyone. So you want to start a podcast but have no idea where to start? Well, Crazy Ant Media is here to help you. We want to assist you finding your VFE. What's VFE, you ask? Well, that is your voice, your format, and your equipment. These are the three biggest essentials you need to start your podcast. All those hours watching non-stop YouTube videos or all those random website links, those are done. Just hop on a Zoom call with us and we'll talk about everything you need to know to create your own podcast and find your voice. Plus, we will send you home with a 12-page packet over everything we just discussed. It's very in-depth. It is definitely a must-need while trying to start your first podcast. Contact us at info@crazyantmedia.com today so that you can start finding your podcast voice for tomorrow. What's up, guys? Oh my goodness. Episode 258 is here of ITCAFpodcast. And you guys know your host with the most, myself, J-Lo, Fantastic, and the one and only Mouth.
What's up?
Man, oh man. Before diving into anything else, guys, you know we're filmmakers. And if you're new to this podcast, we're filmmakers.
What?
Not only do we love entertainment news and bringing it to you every single week, but we also love telling stories and making movies. That's right. And our next film, The Lesson Plan, now has a social media. So be sure to head over to the LP Film account on Threads and Instagram, because we are going to be showing some behind the scenes stuff. We've already got some stuff that we're showing, which has been a whole lot of fun. But I mean, rocking and rolling so far. So we would just want to push everybody that way. And I think it's going to be a really fun set and a really unique experience.
Oh, without doubt. And if you don't head over and follow it, you're going to miss it, because we're going to have a little announcement soon, because we may have found our leading lady. You don't want to find out who that is, right? You don't want to miss that. Come on now.
I know, it's all good. It's all good. But man, oh man, of course, before teasing the rest of the show, be sure to leave a rating on this podcast, comment below, and tell us what you actually think about the show. Because if you didn't know, leaving a rating on this podcast actually helps this show get seen by more people, especially those who enjoy entertainment news. But those who want to break into the entertainment industry, this is your one-stop shop for you, ITCAFpodcast. So be sure to like, subscribe, follow, all the good things on social media, podcast platforms. We are everywhere. But man, oh man, like Dustin said in the teaser, we have a great guest for you, and we're super excited about that. But we're also going to be talking about that new Superman costume reveal. Do we like it? Do we not? We got some opinions, so we'll be talking a little bit about that. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is coming out this weekend, and one of us has already seen it.
Yes.
So we'll be able to talk a little bit more about that. The top 5 this week is top 5 movies of 2024 so far. So we're very excited to get a little crazy with you on this show, because that's what we love to do.
Yes.
That's for sure. But, of course, before diving into all of it, be sure to head over to our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. We got the shirts, we got the hats. Mother's Day weekend is this Sunday, guys, so be sure to grab something for your mom. That may not get there in time for Mother's Day, but it's not a day specific. They're just very mom-worthy clothing items and designs. So be sure to check all of those out on www.crazyantmedia.com. Like I said, where you can start rocking all the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. It's all the fun stuff, man. It's all the fun stuff.
All the fun
But we
stuff.
are starting off the industry news on a somber note. Sam Rubin, many of you might not know the name if you are not in the entertainment industry or not in LA. This is the entertainment industry's huge loss of the week. He's an icon, to say the least. KTLA's Sam Rubin, one of the most respected and connected entertainment anchors in the nation, died suddenly this morning at the age of 64. A source close to the situation confirmed that Rubin died at his home of a heart attack after doing his regular Hollywood news segment on KTLA's 7 to 9 o'clock in the morning hours. Morning news program this morning. Rubin joined KTLA 5 Morning News in Los Angeles in 1991, where he instantly made an impact with his unmatched, crazy amount of knowledge that he had for the film and television industry. Over the years, his reports and news informed and entertained millions of television viewers in LA and beyond. Chatting with Ruben live on KTLA has always been a long staple for any publicity tours for stars, movie actors, TV stars, concert tours, or anything else involving entertainment. Now, as an anchor and reporter in Hollywood's backyard, Rubin also covered the inner workings of Hollywood, usually offering a fan's gee whiz perspective on the maneuvers of studios and networks and accesses to the riches and the famouses. Rubin's sudden passing devastated coworkers and industry veterans, many of whom reflected on his impact during KTLA's live coverage on Friday. Rubin's survivors include his wife, Leslie, and their 4 children. Yeah, this is a big one, man. It really is.
Yeah. If you spent any time in LA whatsoever, there's no way you didn't see him on TV. The man was everywhere, and even if you didn't live in LA or you weren't a part of the entertainment industry, his reports, his interviews were everywhere. Because, like we said, every star interviewed with him. Everybody knew him. He was really, and I mean, in our community, you can't find a bad word about this guy. He was one of the nicest, most admirable, respectable guys ever. And it is definitely a devastating loss and just scary. I mean, he was right there this morning. If you tuned in and watched the news this morning, there he is doing his thing and then just gone. And that's a terrifying thing, but it's also a stark reminder that life is short. You never know when the day is going to be, so live every day like it's your last and do what you want to do and get out there and live your life and live your dreams and just love, because that's all we can do. You don't know. You just don't know. Our condolences go out to his family and friends, and yeah, I got to say I watched the report, and the anchor, his fellow anchor, broke down in tears, just couldn't get through it without, and rightfully so. So, woo. All right, Let's jump over to Disney and talk about some big apes. And they're doing pretty well. Let's to liven this thing back up a little bit. 20th Century Studios' Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes took in $6.6 million in previews per Disney. Now, $1.6 million of that comes from Wednesday night fan screenings, hence Thursday's $5 million ties with the preview cash of the franchise's previous chapter, War for the Planet of the Apes. Now, that preview number is above Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which brought in $4.7 million, which saw a $45 million 3-day opening. And it's just under the $7.2 million posted by Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which turned in a $60.4 million start. Now, the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is playing on 4,075 theaters on all premium screens, including 40 IMAX, 950 PLFs, 300 D-Box 40 motion screens, and 90 Screen X locations. That's a lot, y'all. Those are the pricey tickets. It's aiming for a $50 to $55 million opening for its domestic debut, which, if it happens, will easily be able to tower over the box office chart. Now, the film currently stands at 82% on Rotten Tomatoes with critics and 82% with fellow Rotten Tomato audiences. So, yeah. I saw it. I went to a late show. I caught it. I wanted to see it because I wanted to know if I had to add it to our list later on in the show. And I did. I really enjoyed it, and I'll talk more about it when we get down to our top 5. But it's a good one, and I think if you're a fan of the current version of the Apes films, you should go see it.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I mean, if you haven't, they're on Hulu right now. The first in the collection that launches the whole franchise of the 1968 film Planet of the Apes, the original. And then, of course, the story follows an astronaut, George Taylor, and his crew crashed on a planet where apes are the dominant species and the humans are not. That's for sure. The next four movies all came out within the same decade: Beneath the Planet of the Apes in 1970, Escape from the Planet of the Apes in 1971, Conquest of the Apes in 1973. These movies again follow the apes as rulers and taking control over us human beings. Mark Wahlberg stars as astronaut Leo Davidson in the 2020 or the 2001 remake of The Planet of the Apes, which was directed by Tim Burton. The next movie, Rise of the Planet of the Apes in 2011, tells the origin story of ape Caesar, and that one stars James Franco. Now, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes 2014 continues the story of Caesar and follows the events that happened in the Rise of the Planet of the Apes, where a deadly virus killed almost all of the human race. Now, War of the Planet of the Apes, which came out in 2017, was the last film of that reboot trilogy. I believe that was the Matt Reeves trilogy.
Oh, yep.
And it continues Caesar's story of struggling to survive and coexist with humans as he enters war. So, yeah, man, all the crazy things. And I've heard that this one is like a continuation or like a sequel to one of the Matt Reeves ones.
Yeah, no, so it is a continuation of that trilogy, and it's the first in 9 planned films for this continued story. So Caesar is no longer around. Spoilers, but this is what happens after Caesar is gone, and where the world is at now without Caesar. And yeah, it's the setup. It's the first in 3 planned trilogies to continue this ape story. Wow. That's a lot coming, y'all. That's like,
yeah.
But I'm excited for it. I really enjoyed this new kind of take on it, and I was a fan of the original. So let's see, Jeremy Strong, who we're also a fan of, could be joining the Jeremy Allen White. Jeremy Strong and Jeremy Allen White, anything those two are in together, like, sign me up. But they could be together in Deliver Me From Nowhere, the 20th Century Studios movie about Bruce Springsteen and the making of his 1982 album Nebraska. Now, the Succession star is in talks to play Springsteen's longtime manager, John Landau, in the Scott Cooper-directed movie. Nebraska, of course, is the follow-up to Springsteen's 1980 double album The River, which was expected to be a blockbuster rock record with the E Street Band, but instead it was stripped down solo and made on a 4-track recorder. The film will tell the story of Springsteen's artistic journey in the creation of the record. So, yeah, I was excited when they announced Jeremy Allen White as Springsteen. Now it's getting even better. I mean, come on.
Yeah, completely agree, man. I mean, this could be another like Austin Butler, Tom Hanks situation with Elvis. So, I mean, that's really exciting, and the biopics are in right now, man. The biopics are in.
It's true. They're killing it.
But there's no signs of slowing down. But things that are having signs of slowing down is Marvel. But we've been talking about this for a while, so this comes by no surprise. Disney CEO Bob Iger says the company is shrinking the MCU within the next new mission to drop the number of Marvel TV series to 2 a year and the film output to no more than 3 movies per year. Now, Iger said this is part of Disney's overall strategy to reduce output and focus on quality, which he's been talking about since he's been back. The announcement is at odds with the most recent release calendar distributed by Disney, which has 4 films from Marvel slated for 2025, which are Captain America: Brave New World, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, and Blade. But I wouldn't be surprised if Blade got moved because we've been hearing a lot of stuff about that one.
Exactly.
And 4 more Marvel movies are slated for 2026, including the 5th Avengers movie, Now, Marvel is releasing a single film in 2024, which we all know is Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yes.
Historically, the only time Marvel has released more than three movies in a year was in 2021, after the studio sat out 2020 due to the pandemic, of course. Black Widow, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Eternals, and Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, the latter of which was a co-production with Sony Pictures, but still, it's a lot of superhero Marvel content. But we've been talking about it before, and this isn't a surprise. He's just officially on the press tour saying this is what's going to happen now. But I think, the release calendar is not anything you can like sink your teeth into. I think it's one of those things where like, all right, this is a loose date depending on how development and pre-production and production on the thing goes. And we all know that a lot of these films is a lot of post-production.
Yeah.
So I feel like these are just loose release dates that they can move whenever they want. But
And
I mean, I think
unlike
that's the way for every studio about their films.
Yeah, and unlike the Chapek era where he didn't allow the time for post production and he just rushed the shit out and it looked like shit, Iger's not going to do that. Iger's like, we're going to take our time, we're going to get it right, we're going to make it look good, we're going to get back to doing what we fucking do. This is just a little side note. This is the first time ever since the launch of the first Iron Man way back in the day with the MCU that Marvel hasn't kicked off the summer with a movie.
It's true.
Yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine is coming late in the summer. It's usually they kick off the summer. And so, this is the first time ever that Marvel has not kicked off a summer with a movie. So that's interesting.
Which is definitely going to impact the summer box office. That's for sure.
Without
it's already
doubt.
down 11% from last year.
But
so
I think
we'll
Deadpool and
how it
Wolverine
goes.
will definitely resurge it. I mean, that thing's going to make money. It's going to continue to hold the record for the MCU with opening at number one. That is something that has never changed. Even when the films got bad and people were dogging the shit out of them or whatever, every MCU film has debuted at number one at the box office. Every single one. That is a fucking huge accomplishment that no other studio, I don't think, will ever see. So, speaking of Marvel's The Fantastic Four, as you said earlier, John Malkovich has joined in an undisclosed role. What? I fucking love John Malkovich. I have to know who he's playing. The veteran actor joins Pedro Pascal, of course, as Reed Richards, Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, and Eben Moss Bacharach as Ben Grimm. Now, as Marvel's first family, you guys know, along with Julia Garner as Shalabal, a version of the Silver Surfer, and Paul Walter Hauser, who we still don't know who he's playing either. And while where am I? While John Malkovich's role remains a secret, there are a suite of possible characters from the comics that he could embody, including the Wizard, who plays a supervillain version of the Fantastic Four, and of course the Beyonder, a major figure within the larger multiverse saga. But I really think that they should just keep Jeffrey Wright doing that from the animated side if they're going to do him live action. I don't see that. And he's not the only new cast member, though. British actor Ralph Ineson has been cast as the world-devouring cosmic villain Galactus, which, of course, we knew Galactus was coming. You can't have Silver Surfer without Galactus, so you knew that was coming. Marvel's decision to bring Galactus to the Fantastic Four has several wider implications for the MCU, though. For one, the only weapon that can defeat him is called the Ultimate Nullifier, and that has also been used to eradicate entire multiverses, which could make Galactus a critical figure in 2027's Avengers Secret Wars, the movie meant to conclude the multiverse saga and merge them all back into one universe. So we'll find out. Fantastic Four is scheduled to open on July 25th, 2025. So much, man. So much. I'm excited.
All exciting things. All exciting things. Well, The Conners has been renewed for season 7 at ABC, which will also be the show's last. The final season of The Conners will reportedly be shorter than past seasons, with sources saying it will run for just 6 episodes. ABC declined to comment on the length of the season, but I'm sure everybody is just kind of ready to do other things. I mean, a lot of these people weren't doing anything, and then The Conners got brought back, and they were like, oh, okay, yeah, fantastic. It's like a family. We're back to doing what we love. But now I'm sure, there's different opportunities since the success of the reboot or the continuation. So, Yeah, I'm not surprised by this at all. I mean, I'm surprised that it actually made it 7 seasons. That's what I should be
Yeah,
surprised
yeah,
about. So,
same.
I mean, kudos to them. 7 seasons is nothing to blink an eye at. So, congratulations on a successful run.
Yeah, especially after Roseanne was booted off of it after the first season. Remember, it got canceled and
Yeah.
then brought back again as the Connors. So,
Well,
yeah.
that's interesting. I wonder if this set renewed with season 7. I wonder if this seventh season is including that first season with Roseanne. That's a
No, I
great
think
question.
not, because it was officially canceled and then brought back as the
As
Connors
the
as a
Connors,
separate.
yeah.
So yeah, so I think overall it was 8 seasons. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So that, again, that's nothing to be, sad about.
no, no. ABC is also renewing its lion's share of the most high profile unscripted series for the 2024-2025 TV season. Among the shows back are American Idol, The Bachelor, and Dancing with the Stars. Also returning Celebrity Jeopardy and Celebrity Wheel of Fortune, as well as What Would You Do and Shark Tank. ABC announced that What Would You Do is going to be its 17th season. That's just crazy. The fates of shows including $100,000 Pyramid, The Chase, Generation Gap, The Parent Test, and The Prank Panel, among others, will be determined at a later date, aka probably not coming back. I'm just saying. I could be wrong, but I'm just saying. Yeah, all right.
That's right. That's right. But something that is coming back, FX's huge hit series, The Bear,
Yes.
obviously. And it will be debuting season 3 on June 27th. The network announced alongside a short teaser of the upcoming season. Now, in this said teaser, Jeremy Allen White's Carmi is back in the kitchen alone at the restaurant in the middle of the night as he gazes into the camera that zooms out over Lakeshore Drive and the Chicago skyline. Like the first 2 seasons, Hulu drops all the episodes on one day as opposed to week release. So that's very exciting. And I know a lot of people love this show. The last season ended with a bang. So I'm excited to see where they pick up.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and the teaser trailer is just like you just yeah, it's so simple and yet you're like, I can't wait. Another thing I cannot wait for because I was like, damn it, no, I don't want it to end. I fucking love it. Well, maybe it's not ending. This is good news. Shogun might be creating some drama at the Emmys. Now, multiple industry insiders say that FX, the heavyweight contender in the primetime Emmy race for Outstanding Limited or Anthology Series, is actually considering a bold move. They're considering shifting the submission for Shogun to the drama series category this year and taking it out of the limited series. Why? Well, this strategic repositioning is likely due to the fact that Shogun may be coming back for a second season. That's because star and producer Hiroki Sanada has signed a deal with FX to return as Lord Yoshi Toranaga. Now, in the Japan-set historical epic, sources indicate that in the event of a season 2 renewal, Cosmo Jarvis would also likely return to reprise his role as Pilot Major John Blackthorne. Of course, there are plenty of other pieces that have to fall into place before this thing gets the official green light. But the fact that they signed him to the contract, I think it's a go. Everybody wants to see another season of this thing. Now, how that's going to work, I don't know. Maybe we're going to go back and tell other stories because if you saw the show, you're going, how does it continue? But I guess we're going to find out. It's going to be a prequel. It's going to be a little prequel. That's the only explanation. I mean, it can't be anything but. But I'm super excited because, as you guys know, if you've been listening to this show, I'm a huge fan of Shogun, and I'm fucking pumped it's coming back.
Oh, yeah, man, for sure. For sure. Well, Travis Kelsey has been cast in Ryan Murphy's new horror series, Grotesquerie. I
Yep.
think so, maybe,
Yep.
sort of.
Yep.
The Kansas City tight end has been cast opposite of Nicey Nash Betts, Courtney B. Vance, Leslie Manville in the FX series. Now, this one's going to premiere in the fall. Although character details have not been revealed, this marks Kelsey's first major acting role. Kelsey has worked in the unscripted TV space with his reality dating series Catching Kelsey, which ran for 1 season back in 2016, and I've heard it is not great.
No. No.
He is also set to host Amazon Prime's Are You Smarter Than a Celebrity game show. Along with breaking into acting, Kelsey also made his debut as a film producer on the 2024 indie film My Dear Friend Zoe, which premiered at South by Southwest. So that's interesting. I didn't know that about the producing part.
No,
That's
I didn't
cool.
either. I hadn't heard that. So, Okay, Travis,
right?
I mean, go for it. Maybe he'll be a producer on Taylor's next film that she directs.
Maybe.
Because she's made it clear she wants to get into directing, so maybe that's the next power couple in Hollywood. Who knows? All right, let's jump over to Fox, where we have an alert. Haha, pun. Alert, Missing Persons Unit, has been renewed for a third season at Fox. The series, of course, is a procedural drama set in the Philadelphia Police Department's Missing Persons Unit, with each episode featuring a search for a missing person, headed by detectives Jason Grant, played by the one and only Scott Conn, and Nikki Batista, played by Dania Ramirez. They're a formal couple whose marriage ended after the disappearance of their son. Now, Season 2, which is set to air its finale on May 14th, is still in production. Production on Season 3 will begin immediately afterwards. So they're just running and gunning with that show. So there you go.
For sure, for sure. Now, Fox's corporation Tubi, which has been a pretty big free streaming platform recently. I feel like, I mean, they just kind of did a whole new like rebranding and things like that, but now they're like trying to get original content out there.
Yep.
Which leads me to, they have greenlight The Z Suite, a comedy series starring and executive produced by the one and only Lauren Graham from Gilmore Girls and Parenthood.
Yes.
Now, this is a multi-generational workplace comedy, and it is a VOD service's first homegrown live-action original series. Now, the Z Suite is set at a boutique New York ad agency where generational divides see the established C-suite and raising Gen Z employees collide. Now, after a company decision spirals out of control, the agency's reign of executives are pushing out, and the Z-suite employees are suddenly put in charge, ultimately testing both generations' skills and patience. Now, Graham plays Monica Frazier, an advertising agency mogul who is fired as CEO and finds herself crawling her way back into the company that she helped build all those years ago. I think this sounds like a good premise, so I'm excited to see what happens with it.
Yeah, there's not a single thing that Lauren Graham does that I will not watch. So I will watch this, and it will be great, and she will be ignored. Because this woman should have won Emmys and Oscars like numerous times over, and it seems to just consistently get ignored. And she's one of the best actors of this generation by far. So maybe somebody can fucking get on that. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's jump over to Warner Brothers Discovery, where they've announced a deal with Disney. That's right. Who knew? The Bunny and the Mouse, y'all. They're going to get together. They're going to do something. They're introducing a 3-way bundle comprising of Max, Disney Plus, and Hulu. And it's going to start this summer in the U.S. Now, pricing of the Max, Hulu, Disney Plus bundle hasn't been announced yet. But sold separately, the Disney Plus and Hulu bundle without ads costs $19.99 a month. And the standard ad-free Max plan is about $15.99 a month. So, it goes without saying that the bundle would probably be priced at some point discounted below that $36 that it would cost to get them separately. So, yeah. Great. That's fantastic. We've been talking about this forever on the show. We think that this is where it is inevitably going to end up going. All of these streamers, with the exception of Netflix, I think Netflix is like, fuck you all, we started it, we're still separate. But I think the rest of them are going to at some point go, let's just all work together, fucking put it all in there, let's charge a price, bundle it, and fucking rule. And I think that's where we're seeing it slowly starting to go. So whatever happens with Paramount, who buys it, Sony, who doesn't, whatever. I think Paramount Plus will inevitably end up in this deal as well. So who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, I say within the next 5 years, we're going to get dwindled down to like 3 or 4 streamers altogether. Where things are just going to get looped in. Because, I mean, you see Peacock's numbers, though are rising, still pretty rough. You see the whole stuff happening at Paramount. I don't think Paramount has good shows, but I don't think they know what they're doing with a streaming service, so I don't see that lasting too much longer. I see their shows going somewhere else. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. This is a big deal because, I mean, in my opinion, these are my favorite streaming services. So I'm definitely going to be signing up for this bundle.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, I pay for one, you pay for one. Now we'll get rid of both of them and we'll just get... we'll just get the combo. It'll be fantastic,
Right.
Because, I mean, just like, shh, I didn't say that we... Shh. No
Yeah,
password
no
sharing
password
here. No
sharing. No
password sharing
password
here.
sharing. It's not allowed. It's not allowed. Oh my goodness. But what is allowed is James Gunn teasing stuff on X because that's what
Yes.
he's loved to do since it's been announced that he was working on the Superman movie. And man, oh man, we have finally seen Superman in the suit. As filming on James Gunn's Superman continues, the writer and director shared on his Threads account a first look at the star David Cornsweet in the costume as the Man of Steel. The first thing fans might notice is the suit is quite dirty and weathered, which suggests Superman will be doing plenty of down and dirty fighting in this film. And after much debate on will they or won't they, it appears from this photo that James Gunn has elected to give Cornsweet's red trunks as part of Superman's costume.
Yes.
Now, last year, Gunn held a social media poll to see whether or not fans preferred Superman's costume with or without the red trunks, and with the red trunks, won by a margin of about 10% of overall voting. And it seems like now that the people have received what they want. Overall, I liked it. I liked what I saw. This is my just overall critique of all of DC's costumes. They all look rubbery. Why do they all have to look rubbery? Like the Flash costumes that were in the Flash, Batman's, the Flash, like Wonder Woman, they all just look rubbery. And I feel like that's the same this one looked as well.
Yeah. So there's a lot about this costume. It's a mix of several costumes. It's the Fleischer cartoons from the early 30s and stuff. That's the yellow outline around the S. The S itself is a reference to the Kingdom Come S. The collar and the way the cape hangs off the collar, that's a direct reference to the New 52 Superman. The red trunks, obviously, are a shout out to the original costume. And so, yeah, it's a mix of all these different versions of a Superman costume that Gunn has said in the past inspired his Superman. These are the things that he likes about Superman in the past. So, the only critique that I have of it, and as you guys know, because it does resemble very much the New 52 Superman costume, and that did not have the trunks. So the idea of fashioning it after the New 52 suit and putting the trunks on it was interesting, and I kind of like that. The only thing I don't like about it, and I don't like about the New 52 costume, I don't mind the collar, I don't mind the cape coming off to the sides of the collar and stuff. I kind of like that. It's too armory for me. It has lines cut out like it's got padding and armor attached to it. And I've never understood that on Superman. It's not the first time we've seen a costume like that. And I'm like, this guy's invincible. He's invulnerable. Like, nothing can hurt him. Why would he need to wear armor? Like, it makes no sense that he's putting on, like, this utilitarian battle suit. It's like, he's fucking indestructible. So he doesn't need a battle suit. That's the only thing. If you took the lines off of this suit, I'm all in. I think it looks amazing. I like the size of the S. It's big and bold on the chest. I like the Kingdom Come S, that style. I've always liked it. I'm all in on this thing. Just get rid of the line. Just get rid of the padding that makes it look like armor. I just fucking lose that, and you got me sold, James Gunn. That's all I'm saying.
It's your turn.
It's my turn. Yes. Okay. Speaking of James Gunn, he's doing two things, guys. He's balancing. Not only is he still in production on Superman, he's also started production on season 2 of Peacemaker, and we've got some news from that one. Season 2, apparently, of Peacemaker has added Frank Grillo to the cast. Now, get this: Grillo will play Rick Flag Sr., the father of Suicide Squad member Rick Flag Jr., who of course was played by Joel Kinnaman in the previous 2 movies. Now, Grillo will debut as Rick Flag Sr. in animated form first, because he's part of the voice cast for Creature Commandos, an upcoming Max series about the Black Ops team of monsters working for Amanda Waller after she forms the Suicide Squad. Now, Creature Commandos will kick off Gunn's Phase 1 of the new DC Universe. Peacemaker Season 2 brings back John Cena, of course, as the title mercenary, who killed Rick Flag Jr. at the end of Gunn's Suicide Squad movie. That probably means the meeting between Peacemaker and Rick Flag Sr. gonna be getting a little rough. Why'd you kill my son? So Frank Grillo's a badass motherfucker. Him and John Cena going at it is gonna be something to watch if that indeed goes down. So I'm excited about that. I always like James Gunn's casting choices. I always think he takes chances, but they always work out really well. So I'm pumped for it.
For sure, for sure. Well, Warner Brothers will release the first of its new batch of live action Lord of the Rings films in 2026, which will focus on Andy Serkis's Gollum. Now, the
Yes.
original Lord of the Rings trilogy filmmaker Peter Jackson and his partners Fran Walsh and Philippa Bowens are producing the movie and will be involved every step of the way. Now, the project currently in early stages of the script development. The working title for the film is Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum, and it will be directed and star Serkis himself in the iconic role. So that'll be cool. I mean, anything CGI and that's him. That's
Yeah.
him right there.
Yeah, if he's not the guy suited up in the suit with the dots, he's the one coaching the guy suited up in the dots on how to do it. This guy has literally made a career out of motion capture. It's unreal. What I'm not excited about, trying to jump on the bandwagon here, I think, but we'll see if it works or doesn't. Don't get me wrong. Please don't send me hate stuff. I love Lady Gaga. I think she can sing her ass off. She's amazing. She's a phenomenal actress. She's a phenomenal singer. I just don't understand what this big surge of her is all about all of a sudden. HBO is doing an HBO concert special based on her 2022 Chromatica Ball Tour, which will apparently premiere on the network on Saturday, May 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern, and then will be available to stream on Max. The special was filmed before a sold-out crowd of 52,000 people at Los Angeles' Dodger Stadium back in September of 2022, and features the Grammy and Oscar-winning artist performing such hits as Bad Romance, Just Dance, Poker Face, Shallow, Rain on Me, Stupid Love, and more. I'm seeing this as just kind of maybe a big publicity stunt to push her as Harley Quinn in the new Joker movie. Hey, let's put her concert on there and remind people of who she is before we put her in that movie. Oh yeah, I'm just saying. It seems like a marketing stunt to me. We'll see.
Potentially. Well, we're heading over to Paramount. Lioness. It has set to be renewed for season 2 at Paramount Plus, previously titled Special Ops Lioness. The series debuted in its first season at the streamer in July of 2023, and it hails from Taylor Sheridan, who produced the series under his expansive overall deal with Paramount. Now, the series stars Zoe Saldana, Lazia Del Alvareda, Nicole Kidman, Michael Kelly, and Morgan Freeman. Now, Freeman will be a series regular in the second season. Dave Annable, Jill Wagner, LaMonica Garrett, James Jordan, Austin Hebert, Jonah Wharton, and Hannah Love Laner will also star in this.
Yes.
Now, the series, which is inspired by an actual U.S. military program, follows the life of Jo while she attempts to balance her personal life and professional life as the top of the CIA's spear in the war on terror. Now, that's per the official logline, but so far it has been pretty popular, so it only makes sense that it got renewed.
Yeah, did you ever jump on that one? Mm-mm. Oh my god, fuck, dude! There's some seriously intense shit in that show. It's probably my favorite thing I've ever seen Zoe Saldana do, and I love her and everything. But this one, she just fucking knocked it out of the park. I'm so happy it's coming back. I'm also really happy about this one. Production is underway on season 2 of the Frasier Show with I can't talk. Perry Gilpin set to return in the new season. Now, Gilpin famously, of course, played Roz Doyle throughout the original show's 11-season run. She then reprised the role in a guest star appearance in the first season of the finale of the revival. She's now set to make multiple appearances in season 2 as a recurring guest star. In addition, James Burrows will return to the series to direct 2 episodes, as he did in the first season. Gilpin's not the only original series actor to return for the revival, though. If you remember, BB Newirth reprised the role of Lilith, whom she originally played on Cheers before making multiple appearances on the original Frasier in the revival's 7th episode. So, I'm all in. I'm glad they're bringing originals back. This is a great show. Fucking go!
For sure. Well, Tracy Morgan will star in a new Paramount Plus comedy series that is set in the same world as the CBS show The Neighborhood. Now, the half-hour multicam comedy titled Kirch. Morgan stars in the series as Francisco Frank Kirchfield, or Kirch to those who know him well. The character is described as a Harlem widower whose empty nest plans are put on hold after his millennial son and free-spirited daughter move back home.
Mm.
Now, production will begin later this year.
Well, there you go. Spin-off after spin-off of shows, right? You got to do it. Intellectual property is the cheapest way to go. Let's go on over to NBC Universal, where have you had enough of Jurassic Park? If you have, too bad, because there's more coming. The Lincoln Lawyer star Manuel Garcia Rolfo is in negotiations to star in the all-new Jurassic World film for Universal Pictures. Now, Garcia Rolfo joins Scarlett Johansson and Jonathan Bailey in this next installment of the Juggernaut franchise, which is set to be directed by Gareth Edwards. Original Jurassic Park and the Lost World Jurassic Park screenwriter David Kopp returns to pen the script for this one. The film is due out July 2nd of next year and will be executive produced, of course, by Steven Spielberg through his Amblin Entertainment. So this is the franchise that just will not die, unlike the real dinosaurs who did. This thing just keeps going. It's going.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I feel like people probably say that about Marvel too, but literally keep going after Endgame.
Yeah,
but But Law and Order: Organized Crime has been renewed for a season 5, with the show now officially set to move from NBC to strictly on Peacock.
Yep.
The news comes after weeks of speculation that the show would make the jump to the streaming service from the broadcast network. The season 4 finale will air on NBC on May 16th and stream the next day on Peacock. Now, moving Law and Order original or Organized Crime to Peacock is not altogether surprising. It also reportedly does very well on Peacock, particularly given its more serialized storylines and a departure from Wolf's typical procedural format. And also, if they still pop in and out of each other's shows, it's just going to gear more people to sign up for Peacock and watch Organized Crime.
Yeah.
So they're trying to boost their subscriber numbers, if you guys are not seeing in between the lines.
Yeah,
It's a good ploy. It's a good ploy.
It is, and they were asked directly about that. Would this mean that there would no longer be crossovers? And they did not answer it. They went around it by saying, we haven't talked creative for the upcoming season yet. It's like, if you don't keep putting Stabler and Benson together in crossovers, you're going to lose all the audiences.
Yeah,
That's what they want.
Bad.
Bad news all the way. Plus, I'm just going to be honest with you. I just watch all 3 of them on Peacock anyway. I always watch them the next day on Peacock. So it's going to be no big deal to me. I just continue to watch all 3 of them on Peacock. It's like, okay, whatever. Now, sticking with what I've always loved about the Law & Order franchises all the way since the big beginning, way back in the day, they're known for rotating cast members, changing cast members up, and not always having the same people. I know that sounds weird since some of them have been around for like ever, but they do consistently change up their cast, and they're doing it again. You know, recently we reported that Sam Waterston finished his run as Jack McCoy. He was out of there. Well, now Cameron Manheim won't be returning for season 24 of Law & Order. Manheim, of course, joined the flagship as Lieutenant Kate Dixon, a successor to Anita Van Buren, when the series was revived back in 2021. Now, the season finale, airing May 16th, will mark Manheim's 48th and final episode. Manheim has a long-running relationship with the procedural, though. I remember this because I'm old as shit. But her first TV role ever was actually a guest spot in the very first season of Law & Order back in 1991. And then she followed that up with additional guest spots, playing different characters, of course, in 1993 and 1994. And Dick Wolf is known to do that. Our beloved Kelly Giddish, O'Rollins, she played different characters on Law & Order SVU before she became Rollins. So it's like, Dick Wolf likes to fuck with your head a little bit, but once he finds favorite people, he keeps them around. So, I'm sad to see her go, but it makes sense. It's what keeps it fresh, and he's been doing it forever. So,
completely agree. Well, Melissa Roxborough has been cast in the lead role for the upcoming NBC drama series The Hunting Party. Now, this series was originally announced at NBC back in February, and it is described as a crime procedural about a small team of investigators who are assembled to track down and capture the most dangerous killers our country has ever seen, all of whom have just escaped from a top-secret prison that's not even supposed to exist. Now, Roxborough will play Rebecca Bex Henderson. The character is described as screwed, steadfast, and obsessively curious. Bex is an ex-FBI agent recruited to an elite government task force due to her reputation as a savvy profiler who caught some of the world's most dangerous serial killers. Now, Patrick Sabagoye from The Flash and Sarah Garcia are also set to star as series regulars. So that sounds interesting.
Yeah, a big fan, and I'm just nervous about what does this mean for Melissa on Tracker. Remember, they just brought her in and introduced her as his sister, and the next season is supposed to be heavily wrapped around his family's dynamic. So how's that going to work if she's now the lead in this show? Is she going? Please don't recast her on Tracker, though. Just work that fucking scheduling out. That would suck if
Right.
you just recast her. I know you're happy about this one. Most people, I bet, are. NBC's given a series order to Happy's Place, the Reba McEntire-led pilot the network ordered in January. Now, Happy's Place follows Bobby, played by Reba, who inherits her father's restaurant and is less than thrilled to discover that she has a new business partner in the half-sister that she never even knew she had. Oops.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Right. I feel like that happens more often than people like to admit.
It sure does.
Well, NBC has renewed Lopez versus Lopez for season 3, while Extended Family has been canceled after one season.
I hate
Now,
that.
season 2 of Lopez versus Lopez premiered to a 2.3 million viewers and ranged from 1.5 to 2.2 million viewers for the rest of the season, while NBC Universal notes that the show has reached 10 million viewers to date across platforms including Peacock. Season 3 will debut during the 2024-2025 broadcast season. Now, Extended Family premiered to just 710,000 viewers, then dipped to 330,000 viewers with episode 2, and then remained below 330 viewers for the rest of that season per the Nelson Live Plus same day data. So that's never good, and I'm excited to see Lopez versus Lopez be successful because that's it's literally George Lopez and his daughter doing a show together. So that's really cool.
It is really cool, but I am really disappointed about Extended Family getting bummed. I wish more people had seen it. I fucking loved it. John Cryer and Abigail Spencer, they were just fucking awesome. It was a really original storyline. You know, it's Extended Family about two people divorced but co-parenting and deciding to share the house and taking turns with the kids, and like it was a really interesting show. I hope another network gives this thing a chance. I hate that people didn't watch it. Let's see, Peacock. Apparently, people have been watching this one. Peacock
for you
has
today.
given a second season Peacock Pickup. That's what it is. Say that 3 times fast. To Ted, the prequel TV series to Seth MacFarlane's Ted film franchise, of course. Now, the 7-episode initial installment released back in January and was billed as an event series. Its overwhelming rating success, though, becoming Peacock's most watched original series to date and the #1 original streaming comedy in the U.S. for more than 2 consecutive months in the Nielsen rankings, naturally triggered a conversation about giving it a second season. Now, despite Ted's excellent performance, the renewal decision wasn't exactly straightforward, as the comedy's hybrid live-action CGI nature makes it really expensive to produce, and according to some estimates, the budget's pushing almost $10 million an episode, which is a lot for a TV show, guys. It also takes a long time to make because of the post-production, because of that CGI. Still, keeping its biggest hit was important to Peacock, and they made the decision to go ahead for a season 2. So, there you go.
There it is, man. There it is. Well, or Saturday Night Live star Igor Nubden has been tapped as the female-led opposite of Adam Pally and Stephen Curry in the single-camera Peacock comedy series Mr. Throwback. Her casting is not expected to impact her duties on the NBC's sketch comedy series, which is in the same corporate family. Now, the Mr. Throwback mockumentary centers on Danny, who is Pally, a down on his luck memorabilia dealer who looks for redemption by reuniting with his 6th grade teammate, NBA great Steph Curry. Now, Noam will play Kimberly, Steph's childhood friend, business partner, manager, and essentially overall his handler. Kimberly, Steph, and Danny all grew up together, and while Kimberly is happy to see Danny pop back up in their lives, he's not about to let Steph get taken advantage of by any of Danny's schemes. That sounds funny, so I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, that's cool. Cool. I love how all these athletes are figuring out what to do in entertainment after sports. The more and
Yeah.
more of them seem to be doing that. Let's jump on over to Sony. Sony's animated The Garfield movie scratched up $22 million in its international box office debut. It's currently playing in 18 markets, roughly 35% of the eventual overseas footprint. So those ticket sales represent a pretty good start for the family film. Now, the Garfield movie doesn't open here in the US and Canada until Memorial Day weekend, which is, of course, May 24th. When it does land in the domestic theaters, it's projected to earn about $35 million over the long weekend and will compete for first place with director George Miller's Mad Max prequel, Furiosa. Now, Chris Pratt leads the voice cast of the Garfield movie as the orange feline who famously hates Mondays but loves lasagna. The voice cast also includes Hannah Waddingham, Nicholas Hoult, Brett Goldenstein, and Bowen Yang. I don't know how I feel about this one. I'm a huge fan of Garfield, but I don't know how I feel about this movie. I'm just holding back. I'll reserve judgment.
I know, right? And apparently Chris Pratt is going strictly to animation because he did the Super Mario Brothers movie, and now he did the Garfield movie. But the real question is it so bad that people decide to just have a full-out brawl
I
in
saw
the theater
that. Yeah, just
instead of watching the movie? That's the real question. Like, did the Garfield movie start this fight?
Right.
That's the question.
Right.
It's so funny. It's so funny. Well, we're heading over to Lionsgate, and they will handle U.S. distribution of eagerly awaited Greenland sequel, Greenland Migration. The film sees Gerard Butler and Morena Baccarin return as John and Allison Gritty, along with their diabetic son, Nathan. The couple were forced to flee in the first film as a comet hurtled towards Earth, threatening to destroy the planet. Now, in the sequel, the family embark on an amazing journey across what's left of Europe to find a new home. Now, it's currently in production. The project is set to shoot on location in the United Kingdom and in Iceland. So that's pretty cool.
Okay, I didn't see the first movie, but I'm guessing the comet just hit Europe? Because they're going back to where did they flee to if the comet was hurtling towards Earth? I'm just wondering.
Great question.
Okay. Lionsgate Television. This one is interesting. This one should be causing some controversy. Lionsgate Television is developing a scripted series about the gambling scandal surrounding Dodgers star pitcher and hitter Shohei I can't even say his name. Ohtani. The news comes as the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Central District of California announced this week that Ohtani's interpreter, Ippei Mizuhara, has agreed to plead guilty to stealing $17 million from the baseball player. Now, according to Lionsgate, the series will follow Ohtani's rise as a star baseball player, which led to a 10-year, $700 million contract with the Dodgers, the biggest contract in American sports team history, only to be shrouded in the controversy after allegations against Missouri broke just one day into the 2024 baseball season. I'm under the belief that it's actually him doing the gambling and his guys taking the fall for him.
Well, that's what I was about to say. He's literally the fall guy.
Anybody paying close attention, I think, can see that.
Yeah, but it's also, I guess this dude's supposed to be like the best player baseball's ever seen. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to push that stuff under the rug.
Yep.
It's crazy. Well, we're heading over to Amazon MGM Studios.
Yes!
Light up the bat signal. Amazon Prime's animated series Batman the Caped Crusader will premiere August 1st. Yes. Now, the streamer will release all 10 episodes of the first season. Now, the logline for the Caped Crusader reads, "Welcome to Gotham City, where the corrupt outnumber the good. Criminals run rampant, and law-abiding citizens live in constant states of fear." Forged in the fire of tragedy, wealthy socialite Bruce Wayne becomes something both more and less than a human being. The Batman. His one-man crusade for justice attracts unexpected allies within the GCPD and City Hall, but his heroic actions spawn deadly, unforeseen ramifications.
Yes.
Batman the Caped Crusader will build on Batman the Animated Series, which was co-created by him and aired on Fox Kids for 85 episodes between 1992 and 1995. This is going to be very interesting because is a old boy voicing him? Was this the last thing? Do we know?
No, it's somebody. It's somebody new voicing him. Yeah.
Rip. R.I.P.
I know. Kevin Conroy. Yeah, it's. But I am really excited about this because I remember Bruce Timm saying that this is the version of Batman the Animated Series that he really wanted to make, but because it was on Fox Kids, they had to tone it down a little bit. So this is going to be like the R-rated Batman Animated Series. It's supposed to be really dark and really brutal, and I'm so fucking excited for it, dude. Because I was a huge fan of the animated series. It's one of my favorite animated series of all time, so I'm super pumped. And I wonder if we'll see Terry McGinnis. Will we see a Batman Beyond eventually through it? I mean, will they start introducing people like that? Because that would be, I'm just saying. When Amazon's The Boys, speaking of in-your-face, gory, and hardcore, The Boys debuts its 4th season next month, and things are shaping up to be crazier than that time they blew up a whale and that other time they blew up a giant penis. Well, it seems Butcher and Homelander are ready to burn their whole lives down and take everyone else with them. In the Boys Season 4 trailer, Butcher reveals to Huey and Starlight and the rest of the boys that the time is running out for him, and that the few numbered days he has, weakened heart, have left. He's looking to unleash a deadly virus on the soup community. Yes, the same virus that he discovered when he made a cameo in the finale of Season 1 spinoff, Gen V. Now, to get that job done, Butcher has teamed with a new character played by Supernatural alum Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who seems to want soups wiped out entirely as soon as possible to save humanity. Now, per Amazon's description for the new season of The Boys, which consists of 8 episodes, in Season 4, the world is on brink. Victoria Newman is closer than ever to the Oval Office, and under the muscly thumb of Homelander, who is consolidating his power, Butcher, with only months to live, has lost Becca's son and his job as the boys' leader. The rest of the team are fed up with his lies. With the stakes higher than ever, they have to find a way to work together and save the world before it's too late. The Boys Season 4 will debut its first 3 episodes June 13th, so right around the corner.
There it is, man. There it is. Well, the Blade Runner series is in the works at Amazon Prime, and they have cast Michelle Yeoh in the leading role. Now, the series titled Blade Runner 2099 was ordered at Amazon in September of 2022, and it serves as a sequel to both the original Blade Runner and the follow-up film Blade Runner 2049. Exact plot details are being kept under wraps, but sources say Yeoh will play a character named Olwyn, described as a replicant near the end of her life. So, sounds very interesting. I haven't seen any of the Blade Runner movies, so maybe I should get into them.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You should definitely. I wasn't a huge fan of the second one, Blade Runner 2049. I think it could have been better, but the originals, you got to check out the original. Let's jump on over to Netflix, where Wednesday Season 2 is officially in production in Ireland, with Netflix revealing this week the full cast for the new season of the hit series. Jenna Ortega, of course, will be returning as Wednesday Addams, while Catherine Zeta-Jones, Louis Guzman, Isaac Andoza, and Louis Naui will all be up to series regulars for Season 2. And of course, if you don't know who they are, they play the rest of her family. Zeta-Jones plays Morticia, while Guzman plays Gomez, and Adonis plays Pugsley. Now, in addition, Netflix has now confirmed, and we talked about this, that it was rumored, but it's now confirmed, Steve Buscemi will appear as a new series regular, while Thandie Newton will also appear in a guest starring role. So that sounds like an exciting Season 2.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. I had no idea that Catherine Zeta-Jones was married to Michael Douglas until like this past week. So,
Really?
Yeah, I had no idea.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I know, right?
Bro, they've been married for a long time. Like,
I know. Good for him.
He robbed that cradle like decades ago.
Yeah, I'm proud. I'm
and
proud.
a little bit of an age gap.
Just a tiny bit. It looks better now, but I mean.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
But anyway, Kristen Johnston will star alongside Leanne Morgan in the latter's upcoming Netflix comedy series. Now, the untitled multicam comedy was picked up at Netflix in April with a 16-episode order. Morgan co-created the series with Susan McMartin and Chuck Lorre. The role marks a reunion for Lorre and Johnston, as Johnston previously appeared in CBS's multicam comedy Mom, which Lorre also co-created. The official description for Morgan's series states, Leanne's life takes an unexpected turn when her husband of 33 years leaves her for another woman. Starting over when you're a grandmother and in a menopause isn't exactly what she had in mind. But with the help of her family, she will be able to navigate this next chapter with grace, dignity, and of course, Jello salad. That's the only way. It's the only way to do it.
Is
But
that what
yeah,
you
sounds
is that what you
interesting.
eat when you start menopause? Jello salad? Is that like a
I
thing?
didn't know. I didn't get the memo.
I-
Luckily, we don't have to go through it.
That's true. That's true. All right, let's finish this thing off. Let's run on over to Apple, where we got a couple good stories. Apple TV is rounding out the cast of the upcoming drama series Firebug with 4 new additions: Greg Kinnear, Rafe Spall, Hannah Emily Anderson, and Natari Guma Mahabo Mawine have all joined the series. They will appear opposite previously announced series lead Taron Egerton, as well as cast members Journey Smollett and John Leguizamo. Now, the role marks a reunion for Kinnear and Egerton, who both, of course, appeared in the Apple series Blackbird. Firebird was originally greenlit back in December of 2022. The 9-episode series is loosely inspired by true events presented in Truth Medea's Firebug podcast, which is hosted by Kerry Anathos. Now, the official description states the series will follow a troubled detective and an enigmatic arson investigator as they pursue the trails of 2 serial arsonists. So, sure, that sounds intense.
Right. For sure. Taron Egerton is really Apple TV's guy too, along with John Hamm, because he wasn't also just in Blackbird, but he was also in the Tetris movie. He
Yeah.
was the star of that too.
Yeah.
So kudos to them.
Yep.
Apple TV's highly anticipated adaptation of Laura Lippman's mystery novel Lady in the Lake, starring Natalie Portman, which will premiere with the first 2 episodes on July 19th. Now, the 7-part limited series followed a bored Jewish housewife in the 1960s who divorces her husband and moves to Baltimore to work as an investigative journalist. She soon becomes fixated on the perplexing death of Chloe Johnson, who's played by Moses Ingram, a mother who struggled to provide for her family while navigating the political underbelly of Black Baltimore. That sounds deep, man, for sure.
It
Kind of
does.
like a diving in head first type of situation.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
But oh my goodness, man, we're super excited because it's time for the one and only Carrie James's interview. Man, oh man. You guys know we're super big fans of The Way Home, and I didn't know, but there's a super big fandom of Heartland, a Canadian TV series that is very popular, and that also bled over into the States. So it's really cool to be able to talk to Carrie about all of those things, but more importantly, just about life and how to approach his career. I think that's what I really took away from this interview, just to be as zen as possible.
Yeah, this is a guy who's basically been working his whole life for these 2 shows, and he talks about what that's like and how fortunate he feels and how it's kind of inspired him to go outside of that. But it does really all come down to him and his buddy that he met on Heartland, and how they live their lives and how they were inspired by each other and their way of life to do the things that they do and the stories that they want to tell and how they want to live each other's lives. And yeah, it's a really amazing interview, man. He's just like, I think Zen, you said it perfectly. It's just a very Zen type lifestyle where he's in touch with, yeah, it's just incredible.
It is, man, it is. Well, here he is.
Carrie James, welcome inside the Crazy Ant Farm, man. How are you?
I'm doing really great, man. Thank you guys both so much for having me.
Oh, no, our pleasure, our pleasure. First of all, let us introduce ourselves. Dustin, Logan, and we are thrilled to be speaking to you. We are both huge fans of The Way Home. We have so many questions for you. We can't wait to dive into that. But we also are excited to talk to you because you are, from our research done, a fellow filmmaker, someone who is interested in directing and behind the camera stuff and not just in front of the camera. And you've got goals, and we love to talk to fellow like-minded individuals. So we're super excited to dive into that a little bit too. Let's get started, man. How we always kind of kick this thing off is, for anybody that might not be familiar with you or your work, just give us a little bit of a background. How did you get started in the industry? Was it something you kind of always knew you wanted to do, or was it something you fell into? How did it get going?
For me, I think it was maybe a less than typical route. I mean, I've shared this answer before, so I'll just try to be completely honest about it.
Sure. Mm.
I just knew what I wanted to do, and the way that I live my life, how I came up and experienced reality when I was young. I've always had just a certain level of neurodiversity to how I navigate life, and the typical system just. No matter how well I may have succeeded at certain skill sets within kind of like a subject, there was just no way I was ever going to succeed in a
Right.
typical field. I didn't necessarily know that that acting or film was going to be part of my life at all. I was pretty late to the game. Like I think I was 19 or 20 when I even got into it. But I just look, man. For me, being an artist is all about exploring your own psychology and your own philosophy and expanding on who you are. And the byproduct of that is often, hopefully, if you're lucky, to be able to make a living off of it. And
Yeah.
that's how for me. I consider myself very, very fortunate in that respect because ultimately, the freedom and real job that I always wanted in my life is the unpaid one. It's just self exploration, exploration of life, and of
Yeah.
course that brings all kinds of epiphanies and pitfalls and fun awakenings and humblings. So yeah, that's kind of how I found my way into the arts, and I don't think I'll ever leave it. And certainly, what film is grew on me over time, and what acting is grew on me over time. And yeah, I think the ultimate goal here, at least for me, on a long list of just random little goals. So, everything I do in my life is essentially a tick off a bucket list of explorations. Yeah, I really want to direct and produce a movie of my own. And in this last year, I've had a little bit of success associate producing a couple of made-for-TV action movies, which turned out great. They were exciting. They were fun.
Nice.
It was awesome. It was through Empress Avenue Media on Vancouver Island here. We're very proud. The strike actually played right into our hand. It was perfect. Well, people were coming up with union waivers, a little Canadian scab action up here.
Yeah. I love it. I love that you're not scared to admit that, man. It's like, no, come on up
Opportunity is an
here.
opportunity, man. Yeah, what are you gonna do? But yeah, getting closer to that goal. But my best friend in the world, Graham Wardle, who actually we came up together on another show called Heartland. He and I we got some plans to work on a feature together now. So hopefully that comes
Nice.
together.
That's
Yeah.
always a beautiful experience to be able to share that with someone who you're close with, right? Somebody who you can like really rely on and you can always tell them, 100% the truth. Because Dustin and I always tell each other, we don't need yes men in our corner. We need people who are going to tell us the truth.
Yeah.
And it definitely helps for you to get a little bit more information about us. He is actually my father-in-law. I met him first before meeting his daughter.
Oh, I'm all about family stuff. Go on,
Yes.
please.
Yeah,
Thank
man. He
you,
just
thank
like
you.
what I think it's a little over a month now that he married
Yeah.
the daughter. So yeah. So
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it. But yeah, it's always important to have, supportive people in your corner, especially in this type of industry, because we talk about it all the time. It is a very slow burn type of industry. But to your point of talking about, not really knowing what to do at a certain age and kind of trying to check things off the bucket list, I find myself as a creator to be very, either all I want to be the next big thing. I want to achieve this. I want to be groundbreaking, but then a different side of me, the more relaxed side is, you're putting in the time every single day and by the end of it, you're just going to be happy. And I mean, if you're doing something that you truly love, I think that is the actual version of success that we
Success,
should
yeah.
be striving for. Something that we are doing every day that we truly love. It's not the money, it's not the fame, it's not the glory. It is us being able to be on set and just enjoy life and having fun doing it, right?
Dude, 100%. I couldn't have said it better. And I mean, like there's things involved in when you have success, especially when you're young. And being Heartland, this little Canadian show we have up here that's gone on forever. Like Graham and I were both 20 when we got on the show. And one of the
Mm.
things a lot of people don't really know about the industry, at least for a young working actor. Like we both were consistently working on this show for over a decade, starting when we were 20.
Yeah.
And it might be different if it's a small pond up here. We are not paid what Americans are paid. Maybe reality is different when you're making millions of dollars. But up here, we are making a comfortable, happy, successful living as these youngsters. But what no one really talks about is it's actually extremely isolating as an actor.
Yes.
I grew up very, very lonely. My life is hotels in a bag that hasn't been unpacked in 17 years. And what Graham has also found is it puts you in a very unique position in life where you are essentially a jet setter. Home is a concept not much bigger than your backpack.
That's
And it
right.
also makes relationships and friendships and entrepreneurial choices more challenging. Now, I think as you get older and more grounded, like I'm 37 now, Graham's also 37. We're at that age where the pieces are starting to relax and we're able to coordinate bigger plans. But certainly when we were younger, I know that we both had this idea that when we finally were on a TV show and successful in the leads on that show, and we knew we weren't going anywhere for at least a few years, that something in life, something inside self would change. And I
Mm.
think we would both say we were both wrong about that. That that shining light of like, I made it, like that happens.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's a moment. It's just a moment. And for
Right.
whatever reason, I think we both instinctually felt that there should be such like a finish line. And
Hmm.
so we were really fortunate to have each other all those years to lean on from just, as far as a brotherhood and philosophical, keeping each other in check. And
Yeah, yeah.
that was a lot of years to spend together. So he is truly my brother at this point because, like you said, like there's no boundaries in terms of telling each other the truth. And
Exactly.
yeah, we just
Authenticity. It's key. You've got to find that people, that person or those people that you can be your true authentic self with, and they're going to not judge you. They're going to say, okay, I'm going to give it to you good and bad. When I agree or disagree, I'm going to tell you what I think. And that's the people you need in your life. There's so much to unpack with what you said right there about the self-exploration. It's like you think that this is going to be when you have this shining moment and this is what, and then you slowly start to realize life is a journey. It's a continued journey of self-exploration and trying to figure things out. So there never is going to be that moment where it's the definitive finish line, because if it is, you're done. And yeah,
I mean, essentially, yes.
yeah,
That's
and
exactly it.
the goal is to not be done, right? To keep learning and to keep growing and to keep trying to figure things out, because who you were yesterday is not who you are today, and it's not who you're going to be tomorrow. And that's just the reality of life if you're living it right. And the other thing that I wanted to dive into with what you said is the whole mental health aspect of it, because you're right. I don't think a lot of people realize that this is an industry, especially if you get on a hit show or you're in a hit film or something, where you're thrust into the limelight and you're constantly out there in the public for people to see. And yet you inwardly are alone as hell. And I don't think people understand. Everybody thinks that the spotlight's on you and you must have a gazillion friends and everybody is around you and you're constantly surrounded, when the reality of it is exactly what you just said. You are in a lonely spot where you don't truly have a home. You're trying
I
to
mean,
build
that's the
relationships, right?
And that said, I will play devil's advocate to that too, because that is all true, but also crocodile tears. I don't
Well,
want to hear it. Complain
Right.
about that stuff. I've lived in the real world too.
oh
It's,
yeah, yeah.
you
You
know what
have
I
to
mean?
be.
It's like
You have
you
to
have the
be.
resources to make healthier choices.
Yes.
And and so yeah, I will put that out there. Devil's advocate to my own point.
No, and that's a whole different story, right? The people who
It's
are
unfortunate.
ungrateful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a fortunate problem to be able to have the time to focus on noticing that you're lonely.
that's
A lot
right.
of us don't have that.
That's
So
exactly right. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, just to be able to bounce around and figure out, what you want to do in life, I feel like is, very important. And I mean, I'm very curious too, because you are a very relaxed individual just from these 9 minutes that we've been talking to you. I can already tell you're very loosey goosey. You don't, I feel like you
well,
don't let things affect you as far as, rejection, as we like to say in the industry, sometimes selection. So when coming to a role, when coming to a specific job, how do you keep your mental health sane in the sense of not trying to build yourself all the way up here, and then if you don't get it, not putting yourself all the way down here? How do you keep yourself very in the middle of the road?
well, and you will have to forgive me. This may not be typical answers, and
No,
it's
that's
okay
good.
to disagree
We're
with
here
me.
for it.
Um, dude, none of it matters. None of it
Mm.
matters at all. Like it really doesn't. You could build a list and a bunch of reasons about why it matters. Yes, we need to gain money as a resource to acquire food and have shelter, but those in the first world, at least here, yes, things are getting challenged, more challenging for people, et cetera, et cetera. But man, I've been the poorest of the poor. Some of those times being completely broke and destitute, my happiness was actually higher than when I was maybe
Mm.
fiscally better. So
Mm-hmm.
everything is about perspective. And at the end of the day, dude, it doesn't matter. You just got to live. And that's what I believe. Because for me, it's astounding that it's even happening. And I'm a huge buff in mechanics, specifically quantum mechanics. I
Mm.
really like understanding how this is all happening. Um, it doesn't mean that explaining or learning about how it's happening is going to offer anything different from my experience here. Ironically, learning more about how the universe shapes itself and how this is all even happening has just relaxed me because there really is nothing to prove. There is no one who is the one. There is no one who is really special. And even if they are, I mean, life has a safety mechanism. We are born, we live, we enjoy, and then we pass on, which
Mm-hmm.
guarantees that new perspectives, new psychology, new things will emerge, and old will be forgotten. So, regardless of the chaos or the challenges that we're experiencing here on planet Earth, eventually things will stabilize. How do I know that? Because convergent evolution, everything goes from a state of inactivity into chaotic elements. It catalyzes, it fizzes, it goes crazy, and then everyone, for a very short and brief little bit, gets to enjoy when things settle and become easy and gentle again. And then it
Mm.
starts over. And that's the reality of all things.
Yes.
And that applies even to the human life. So for me, I'm like, with that, when I was younger, and still times now at this age, sometimes knowing that can cause me dread. And that's
Mm.
okay. Because that's a
Mm-hmm.
really scary concept to really understand not just how small you are, but that it's okay and still sort of special that you're even here. It
Yeah.
lets me off the hook, man. For me, it's my safety blanket. It allows me to just live because no matter what narrative you have in your mind that you're thinking that you need to prove something to, whether it's yourself or God or a person in your life, it's fictional, it's temporary. And
Mm.
you can hold on to that, it makes all the things in life a lot easier. And I'm also, 37 now. My family's been in crisis for like the last like 4 years with health stuff. My dad went through
Mm-hmm.
leukemia, and I was able to take time off work to try and help him. So I got to be really close to that. My mom went through breast cancer, and then she had some mental
Wow.
health stuff, some
Mm-hmm.
suicide. Things got really crazy. But when you start to go through things that really widen your perspective on life, and you have to be responsible for people other than yourself for the first time ever. I'm not a father, so
Right.
for me, that was as much as I thought I was moving towards manhood. It really took this next stage, and after that, there just really isn't anything that's particularly scary or worrisome about life to me. I
Dude.
know
Mm.
that might sound strange, but for me, that's
Dude,
it.
that is so fucking raw and so real. And we talked at the top of the show about loving to speak to like-minded individuals. That is beyond the scope of like-minded. It's exactly how we try to approach how we live our lives, knowing that everything is just it plays out the way it's going to play out. You are just here for a small part of it. Hopefully, you get to enjoy that small part of it. But like you said, there's going to be moments of chaos and there's going to be moments of joy. And the quicker you figure that out, the much more happy you can be in the
Yeah,
life that
totally.
you're living. And I love that you're so real about it because a lot of people haven't figured it out yet. And it's just, yeah, dude, that was so well said. I can't
Well, I
even.
was gonna say, can I? I mean, if you ever start a cult, I'll be your first
Yeah.
follower. I swear. Like the way
You
you
know what?
just,
I am. It's the anti-cult. It is the anti.
yes,
I want us to disillusion the entire self-help model in terms
yes.
of the part of it that is not actually beneficial to any of our
Mm.
health. I think that it is important that we and I guess the thing too is like for me, I'm not sure that I'm the person who's meant to reach masses, but in these little collective moments talking to
Oh
others,
yeah.
hope that some of these things go forward and we just I think that's what it is, right? You affect your circle and hopefully your circle affects theirs and so on and so on.
Well, and we say it all the time. If by doing this or by our art with the films that we create or the stories that we tell, if we do just connect with one person and it moves forward from there to another person, then that's all that matters, right? It's not about the masses. It's did that one person hear you who needed to hear you today? Then that's all that matters and that's a good thing and that's a great thing. So, I love
I
that
didn't
that you do
if,
that.
like if you notice too, like one of the things that sort of even like helped me release this concept of like holding on to even goals so tightly was just like I do feel like I'm part of the last generation where people had favorite movies that actually held up for like a generation. Like some of these incredible picks, like I would be, a little kid or in my teens watching some of these movies from the 60s and the 70s. And I'm just like, this is brilliant. But over the time, I've watched the speed of psychology and how we ingest information get faster. And I've watched people don't know these movies anymore. And it's not necessarily even a bad thing. It's just surprising to me that these things could ever become relics in the past. And I was like, holy shit, I'm going to be a relic in the past.
Yeah. well, the good thing is great transition, Kerry. Maybe there's opportunity for you to go back to the past, and you won't have to leave there. Let's get into it, man. Let's start. We got deep there for a little bit, and I love it. But let's do it. Let's talk about The Way Home and the astounding success that show has had. I think that when people say supernatural, time travel, the things that this show engulfs, they don't think Hallmark. You're like, what? I'm tuning into Hallmark for this? It's not a rom-com movie where everybody's happy at the end? Wait a minute. I thought it was extremely brave and intelligent for the company to go, hey, this is an interesting concept. Let's just dive right into this. And then the controversy. I mean, these are not altogether uncontroversial subjects that they're dealing with.
No, not at all. I mean, like, we'll just be honest there. That we were riding a line very closely.
Oh, my goodness. Are we? Especially between... okay, let's dive into it. So you play Nick, who you're the adult version of Nick, who is now finding out that one of his best friend's daughters is the person that he was madly in love with and had a relationship with, and now is in his life again. Wait, what? So I want to talk about that. What was your thought process when you knew you were coming back as the adult version, going, oh, I get to revisit this interesting dynamic between these characters in this relationship?
Because of the controversial nature, because if we leaned in a certain direction, things are get dark and scary very fast.
Yeah.
So right away, before everything was even written, like I was on the phone, we talking with the writers and Heather and Marley just making a plan for this. And like I'm 37 years old. So my immediate thing was I was like, oh great, like that's perfect. She's a kid. I'm an adult, like I'm starting to feel that paternal energy. Yeah. But like I'm in that transitory stage. So of course Sadie's a full grown woman nonetheless, but the dynamic of the two characters. But then big thing was like for the audience, it's gonna feel like Nick saw her yesterday. And for Alice, she saw him literally yesterday. But Nick he's had 15 years to grow up and become a man and go through other relationships in college and develop a much more complex sense of emotions and psychology. So I think for him, I really played into the time travel part. Yeah. I think Nick is the kind of person that would not only find that, now I'm restricted to the lines on the page, but being me and my own passion for some of these things, I was like, I'm going to play this like Nick is, yes, aggravated at Elliot that they wouldn't share this, that they hide it from him all these years. But I was like, maybe I won't lean so much into the heartbreak of him, but also just be like interested in time travel itself. Because I would love for Nick to come back the next year. I mean, he is the only outsider who knows about the pond now.
He is. That is correct. And what a great thing that is, because they did expand on the storyline beyond just him and Alice. Yeah, there is a relationship there between him and Elliot, and the things that went on with Kat, and that whole dynamic. That we could explore so much further down the line, especially now that Nick knows about time travel.
I really hope they choose to, and I hope that Nick finds some mysterious way of ending up back or forward in time or something. Who knows what they have planned? I know the Wells have rules, but rules change.
No.
Well, especially too with your characters' moms, especially going back in that time where being in a same-sex relationship wasn't necessarily the norm as it is today, and especially coming from a Hallmark show where we know that Hallmark was kind of teeter-tottering on even wanting to portray these type of stories. So to be able to go back in time and tell more stories like this, I feel like is a win-win for everybody, and especially you, man, because we want to see more of you pop up in this show. That's for sure.
I got so lucky. Like I've told this story a few times too, but Heather Conkey, who's the showrunner along with her daughter, this is their show, but they both worked on Heartland. Heather
Mhm.
was the showrunner of Heartland. So
Nice.
I feel very confident that me being a part of The Way Home was very much they had casted that awesome kid Sam to
Yeah.
play Nick.
Yeah.
There is a certain similarity between our energies in that, but ultimately it was the luck of just of Heather giving me the opportunity. So I owe my entire career to Heather Conkey largely.
Well, and let me say this though. Let me be the devil's advocate towards that with the luck aspect of it. You clearly presented yourself in a manner to her, and the work that you did on the show to make yourself memorable. To say this guy's a guy that I want to continue to work with on other projects, not just
What
this
I will
show.
say then, in honor of being totally authentic and just raw, I was like, I totally agree. The reason that I am so humble about this one thing is because she knew me as I was a young man heading towards becoming
Yes.
a much
Right.
more grounded, much more team player. Like I have rules about how I conduct myself on set, man. Like you know your lines. Half your job is crew morale. You should be polite to everyone. You should assist the entire flow of the day. You should never cause a headache.
That's
It's
right.
all about assisting the flow. Like I am a pro at work. But I had to find my way there through some headaches, which were mostly unrelated to my time at work. But the reason I seem so humble towards this is because I feel like Heather has given me more than one or two chances to grow up. And I think I've finally gotten my craft and attitude in a place where she approves of it, or at least can sleep well knowing that she gave me opportunities.
Well, I mean, I think that speaks volumes to both you and her and the people that you are. So there you go. I love, man, I love good stories. I just love when it all works, bro. Nothing makes me happier.
It really does make everything easier too when you have that dynamic on set where you have worked with individuals before on different projects. So you're able to bring that sort of camaraderie together and be able to create this family with a new family, basically. You're meeting a whole different side of a family that you had just haven't met before, basically. And I feel like that's really what the dynamic was. I love everything about the show, and I feel like, if they continue in telling these type of stories, I think the show can keep going on and on and on. And I mean, doing our social media things and things like that. There's some big ass Facebook pages for this show that
Yeah.
people talk about it. It's like a big community. It's like a
I
book
mean, like,
club for the show. It's awesome.
it kind of is like a pretty star-studded cast.
It
Like,
is.
Mhm.
It is.
Michelle, Sadie, Evan, Kyler. Like Kyler Lee is a star.
Huge.
Yeah.
Man. That
Huge. Yeah.
woman is on. She's incredible.
Huge.
The energy from her and the dynamic and the way that she can steer the entire ship into like this mutual energy where everybody is dancing together. Because sometimes you go to the scenes and you can feel that there's a disconnect or that the energies between actors and the crew aren't quite meshing. There's some kind of tension. When Kyler walks into a room, all of it melts away and it
Oh.
just becomes this like gentle flowing thing because she's just this all-star. She's so witty and so clever, and the way she can just deliver her lines, like if you guys hadn't noticed, the amount they give her to work with, just like
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
enormous
Yeah.
amounts of information and exposition on top of that, which is like one of the hardest things to do. That woman can just man, she's just a star, like a true star.
Yeah.
Have you guys had Evan or her on the show?
Not yet, but
Not
we
yet.
are looking forward to speaking to them both because, I know young Logan here, long, huge time fan of Kyler, all the way to Grey's Anatomy, and just like,
Yeah. Big
coming.
Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
She was during those seasons, she was by far the best member.
Oh,
of the
what?
cast.
Lexi,
Agreed.
come on. Like, I mean,
Agreed.
she was incredible. And then the transition period of Supergirl and how her character started on Supergirl and where her character ends up on Supergirl is just a testament to that. Like,
I
just
think when you have
unreal.
Someone like Kyler in a project, inevitably, if it is an ensemble cast, inevitably, you just can't help it. But the
Yeah.
camera's going to start to favor
Yeah.
Kyler, and then favor her character, and it's just who she is. It's her charisma. And then, of course, you might be a little young, Logan, but for us, Annie McDowell.
Oh, yeah. I mean, come on now. Come
A
on.
little humble Canadian boy working on a little Canadian show, suddenly hanging out with Annie McDowell. She's
Legendary. She's legendary, man. It's like,
truly a legend, and lives up to it.
and what an opportunity, right? As a young man coming up and wanting to be the guy behind the camera at some point. the lessons and the things that you can learn from those people on that cast, just being there is incredible. I mean, I can't even imagine what Kyler and Andy must bring to the table for you to just soak in as a filmmaker going, wow, okay, that's how to do it. That's how to get it done, kind of a thing. Let's talk about that a little bit too, because doing our research and everything, and tell us if this is still true or not, or if you've been dissuaded, or hopefully not, but that you kind of want to see yourself directing projects in the future that you've written, that, you know, and put yourself into stuff.
I imagine, like, I tried even recently in the last couple of years going the more traditional route through directing, which is, you know, to pick up other people's projects, to get attached to things, da-da-da-da. And then I was like, oh man, I don't know if I could do the whole indie thing. Like, am I going to write a film and then try to fucking make it myself?
Yeah.
It's hard, man.
It's hard.
I'm going to do it, but I'm not going to. And so in the past, like I've done a couple TV pilots that didn't get picked up, bunch of short film stuff like that. But it's been like decades. Like I got disillusioned and frustrated, I think, with the industry was for a while, and put all that on my mind. It's been years. I think that the first thing I'm going to do here is something very much like, it's going to be like a tree of life philosophical thing where I can go out there and sort of meet Gus Van Sant and Malik halfway.
Yeah.
Maybe get less lost in lens flares and still try to focus on people, but burn, Malik. No.
Yes, it's all right.
But yeah, I'm dead serious. I'm only blushing because I'm actually pretty close to pulling the trigger on some of this stuff, and I do have my premise pretty roughly sussed out now.
Nice.
Real outrageous. And speaking to Graham too, it was really his push to like, I want to make a movie this year. Let's do this. And we were discussing budgets and like what we could come up with personally. And so kind of looking at like without crowdfunding and without trying to source more funds, which is also like, I'm still going to put some energy into that. But if it's going to delay the project an entire year, then fuck it. We'll just use what we have. So we could probably drum up somewhere in the 250 Canadian K to do something like this. And, yeah, he was more leaning towards the idea of making it's less of a movie with a traditional story and more of a poem about a very simple story. It's kind of he's very passionate about self-discovery as well, and really interested in what it means to be a man in this modern culture and what like self-help and self-healing looks like for men in this modern culture. And I had originally been like, well, you know, like the energy is focused primarily on the feminine healing and feminine recovery in terms of the movie Eat, Pray, Love, but it's still an incredible movie. It's one of my favorites. It's beautiful. I love how it makes me feel like what's the male version of Eat, Pray, Love.
Right.
And yeah, which led me around to a hilarious horror movie title. It should just be called Eat, Pray, Love, but like
I love that.
I'll write that one later. That note in the back. Yeah, so this one's going to be pretty on point of just a guy who's rediscovering his sense of why he chooses life. And simple, and we're obviously a little more complex than that, but we're working that out right now. And hopefully we can have some traction on that in the next few months.
Nice.
Well, fantastic. Congratulations, man, because we know the game, we know the grind. So, I mean, it takes a lot. That's for sure. We completely get it. We completely get it. But how we like to finish up our interviews is by having a little fun. We could really talk forever, man. We might have you back on our mental health podcast so we can talk about enlightenment and what it means to. Yes, I feel like that you'd be a perfect guest for that.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Certainly, I'd be honored.
Yeah,
I
dude.
love it.
Okay, we'll make that happen.
Yes, for sure. But how we like to end up the interviews are our popcorn questions. Now, these are just 5 questions that, you know, can be a little dicey, can be a little fun, can be a little poppy, I guess you could say. It's in the name. Well, the first one is, I mean, I feel like this is a little basic, but I mean, it's one of those that I feel like we always get a good story out of. What was the funniest moment or most memorable moment on set of The Way Back?
Oh my God. What was the funniest moment for me this year? I think it would have just been overall working with Evan. I don't know if you guys have had, like you said you hadn't yet, but you've got to get Evan Williams on the show. The kid is brilliant. And also, I moved the program, very existential, deep thinking, like highly heart-centered, passionate human being. So, of course, when you get two sort of similar-minded in terms of just like self-expression, energy in the same place, you end up with a storm of giggles. And so, Marnie, who plays one of the moms, we had this scene. We're walking through the yard, and Evan's ahead of us. And for whatever reason, Evan makes me aware that he's like, "You guys aren't on camera. You can do whatever you want." So we have this. So Marnie's supposed to be doing this like ghost thing, whatever, like this ghost story thing. And we're in the background, and I'm telling Marnie, I'm like, Marnie, no, they want us to like get down. So we're all like getting down. I'm like, now stand up. But she's leading this, so this is going on in the background, and then finally, Shamim Sharma, she calls cut. She's like, Evan, Kyla, that was brilliant. Marnie, what the fuck was that? Like, 'cause we were basically like, yeah, it was ridiculous. It all got explained. We died laughing. It was fun. It was fun getting another castmate in trouble without them realizing I was the culprit.
Yeah.
There's gonna be shenanigans for me. There's always, as long as it's done in a timely manner, shenanigans.
For sure,
yes.
for sure. All right, this next one, I'm dying because you are at that age now where you can go back, but then you're also kind of like current generation, and so this one's going to be interesting.
Buy a thread.
No, come on, man, you're good. If you could live in any television show or film, which one would it be and why?
Dude, but aren't we already?
That's fair.
Yes.
Dude, any sci-fi. I would love to be. I'm very attracted to sci-fi. It is one of my favorite genres. So if it was a TV show, I think it would definitely be sci-fi. And I think, God, who had the most fun like realms and different activities? Could it be animated?
Sure.
Can
Sure.
be animated.
Oh, is it Farscape? Is that the name of it?
Yes.
It's the one
Yeah.
I think that sounds familiar. Yep.
Yeah, dude, because I thought that was amazing. They had the hyperdrive for light speed, but then they had drop drive to go transdimensionally. I was like, yes,
that would be
conceptually
much.
have my attention. So that's the show.
There you go.
I'm
Right
an
there.
animated voice in 2D reality. That's where I ended
Nice.
up.
Oh, I
There we
love
go.
that. Animated voice in 2D reality. I love that, man.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Well, you've worked with so many amazing people so far, but there's got to be that one person. Who would be that one person that you still want to work with in your career?
That I haven't already worked with.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh man, that's a huge, wide list. I would love to work with Matthew McConaughey because I think he's one of the most talented people. I think the way that he's lived his life outside of work fascinates me. And more than anything, I think that I would drive him fucking nuts. And I would start mimicking him. Like I wouldn't be able to
Right.
help it. It would just it'd start gradual, and then it would just come in. And by the time we were at work, he'd be all mad, veins popping out, and he's like, "I've had enough. I've had enough of you." Yeah, right now.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Yeah, no, yeah.
So yeah, and then I would have this story for the next time I do the podcast about how I got fired from set after losing recording goal. Matthew McConaughey and
Sure.
why.
Sure.
love that.
No, that's a great answer. Oh my gosh. All right, now we're gonna get deep. We're gonna do the Barbara Walters moment. All right. If you could go back and tell your 10-year-old self something, what would it be?
Also, oh shit. I mean, being 37 now, I would be like, this makes no sense, but I need you to go tell Dad right now. Like, yeah. Microsoft, Apple, like the usual suspects. When to pull out. No, I joke. I wouldn't. That's such a tricky thing, man. I don't know, because you know what? I'd tell him to just trust that things get better. That's it. It would just be that simple. Say things
There you go.
better. It's okay. That's it. Yeah.
I love that though.
Keep it hopeful. Let him still make the mistakes he needs to. Yeah.
That's it.
And maybe a Microsoft, Apple.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah, just to skew the scales a little bit.
I love that answer though, because and almost everybody who we've presented that question to is very similar in that nature. It's about, if I could go back and tell them this, I would give them some advice, but I also wouldn't change anything, because the things that they go through or the mistakes that they make or the hard is why they are who they are today. So let's not mess that up, right? And so it's always interesting to hear the answers like that. I love that.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, I would go back and tell myself a few years ago to invest in GameStop for that 2 seconds and then cash out.
Yeah, for sure.
That's so funny. It's so funny. And the fifth and final one. I feel like we already know the answer because we can already tell your vibe from this whole conversation. But are you happy with your career so far?
Dude, it's such a fluctuative thing, right? It's for me, it's like, am I happy with my life? Flux and flow.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what it's like for everybody else, but there are some days you wake out of bed and you don't know who the fuck you are, why you're doing this. every bit of direction you've ever headed towards no longer seems relevant or makes any sense.
Yep.
And then a few hours later, even you're looking at a flower and suddenly your head's working on a new script, one that you're not even going to write, but you're just standing there playing with it for a little while. And then maybe one of the days, for me, I think the luckiest thing is when I get to work. If it was up to me, I'd be working. All my free time would go to work, being on set. That's where I'm even the healthiest, because that's where the most direction is just offered. So, am I happy with my career? Yes, I am, because I think that as far as being a little Canadian kid in a small Canadian pond, I think I've been very fortunate and done very well. And I don't think a lot of my peers have necessarily had the luck to both. They've been part of a project for like 17 years, and now going into a third season on another show, like that's pretty damn lucky.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that gratitude that you have is everything. It says everything. Man, what a conversation, man. You are an absolute gem to talk to, my man. You are just a stellar human being. I love your approach to life and how you live, and your approach to your career and the things that you aspire to do. And just the general vibe of how you treat people and how you are. Yeah, what an incredible conversation, man. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. This was awesome and very energizing. I appreciate both of you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Of course, of course. Well, it's all about social media now. So where can we direct all of our followers to follow you?
I'm pretty much specifically active on Instagram at 689 Carrie James 689. And because we're in the modern era and there's so many scammers out there, it is that one site, guys. Go to Instagram. My link tree is there for any other appropriate things I might be up to. But stick to that one account and don't trust. Don't trust it.
Perfect.
Exactly. You got that Carrie James official. Don't trust that
That's
one.
right.
It's not
That's
official.
right. I know. I love how everybody puts official in it. Oh yeah, that must be real. Yeah, like no.
They're preying on people that aren't necessarily, it's such a, makes me angry.
My favorite, man, my favorite is when you're actually friends with the person and a scammer tries to convince you they're the person. It's like, no. It's like, but good try. See you later. It's just unreal. It's unreal.
I'd say 90% of my actual friends have unfollowed me years ago because they retired. Stuff. They're like, man, I love you. That's it. I'm done with your Instagram. And I'm like, oh, I get it.
Oh, that's good.
That's so funny. No, we understand that as well. We understand that as well.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's so funny. Well, listen, man, again, thank you so much. Take care, and we're going to be talking to you soon.
Cheers, guys. Yeah, reach out anytime. Let me know.
Yep.
Right.
See ya.
Oh, boy. Talk about energy. Talk about good vibes. Just, wow. That was an amazing conversation.
It really was, dude. And, that's the kind of person that you want to have in your circle. That's the kind of guy you want to associate yourself with because, like you said, the positive energy, the positive vibes, and even on bad days, he's like, it's all okay. It's just going to be a moment, and then you're on and you're moving past it. And, it's incredible to hear, and I think that's why he's been so successful, right? Because as he said, he brings that to the set, he brings that to the people he's around, and clearly that has resonated with the people that he works with, and that's why he continues to see the success that he has. I love that thing when he says, one day you wake up and dude, I thought he was describing my day today. I started off exactly like that, in just a funk. My day fucking sucked. Why am I here? Everything I want is a disaster, and then I go on a hike and I'm okay. Everything's like, I was like, bro, were you following me?
Right.
But it is, I think it's that type of approach when you can live your life like that I just think you see real success. And yeah, what a joy to talk to, man.
Completely agree. Thank you again, Carrie James, for coming on the show. All right, now it is time for the top 5 segment, man. And we teased it at the top of the show, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun if y'all haven't seen these yet, because it will give you a little bit glimpse into what you could still go see in the theaters right now, or what's about to be available on a streaming service. So this week's top 5 is top 5 favorite films of 2024 so far, and there's been some good ones this week or this year so far. I mean, I will say that,
and this week,
and this week, I mean, we've talked about it before, and we talked about it a little bit earlier in the show. Like, there is a drop in the overall box office so far this year, about 11%. So we'll see how that goes, and hopefully that does get rebounded with like a Deadpool and Wolverine, and hopefully Kingdom of Planet of the Apes can do big things too. I don't know if it'll break 100 million, but I think it'll be close. I mean, I think the CGI films do way better overseas than they do here, if they're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
superhero movies.
No, yeah, and I got to be honest with you. One of mine that's on my list, and I'll talk more about it when we get to it. But it was The Fall Guy, and I'm shocked that did not do better than it did in its opening weekend. It was number one, but I mean it was low 30s, and I mean you're talking fucking Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling coming off the two biggest movies of last year and huge star power. You would have thought this was a no-brainer, and yet it wasn't. So. Yeah, man, I don't know. The box office is just a tricky beast, bro. It's a tricky beast.
I know. We'll talk a little bit more about that. I've heard some interesting points about that, but we'll talk a little bit more about it when we get to yours. Number 5 for me goes to Dune Part 2. Now, everybody knows, at least if you're originally like listening to the show or regularly listening to the show, and if you're new to the show, I don't like Timothée Chalamet. I just don't think he's the best actor. He can only really play one role. That doesn't mean I don't like some of the movies he's in. Like Dune, I wasn't the biggest fan of the first one, but this second one, yeah, I really enjoyed. Of course, it's still a slow burn type of story. But I mean, also the same can be said about Star Wars, which I'm a big fan of. But I could really see a lot of the resemblances between Dune and Star Wars in this specific movie.
Interesting.
But I mean, the third act of Dune 2, great, so freaking good. I think like some of the best action sequences I've seen all year so far. So I definitely think it was worth it. I talked to a lot of people that really enjoyed it as well. Have you gotten a chance to see this one yet?
I have not. And I need to because you know I was like you. I was not overly impressed with the first one. I remember the '80s ones, and so I always held it in comparison. And I didn't hate the first one. I just like you. It was not just a slow burn, but it was like sometimes it felt like it just came to a complete grinding stop and had to restart, a few times. It just wasn't. So I was skeptical about 2, but I have heard good things about 2, so I think I'm going to try to gut through the first 2 acts and get to the third act, because everybody that I have spoken to, like you just said, says that the ending is worth sitting through it. So I guess I'm going to check it out. My number 5, I just saw. I literally just saw it. It's The Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and if you were listening to the show up earlier, I'm a fan of this new series of them that started with Franco's, with Caesar and stuff. This is kind of the continuation of that, and the whole time I'm watching this, it's very much still the continued story of the Caesar stuff and what's started with that trilogy, right? But it's also a huge shout out and homage to the 70s original Planet of the Apes movies. And I think we love Mark Wahlberg, but can we all just agree that everybody just kind of pretends that one didn't happen? Like you think Wahlberg and Tim Burton's going to be huge, but no, that thing really just was not good. We like to pretend that was never part of it. But this one, they take all the great detail in, as they say, aping, that they started with Franco, right? Andy Serkis playing Caesar and the coaching on how to be apes and how to interact. And you can tell that they're all in on this. And that was necessary because in this one, like in the original films with Charlton Heston, when they crash on a planet, which we find out is actually Earth. They didn't crash on any other planet. It was actually Earth. But in like those originals, in this Kingdom of Planet of the Apes, the humans are like beasts. They can't talk. They're the animals, and the apes are the rulers of the planet. They're the educated. They're the informed. And so it's a very much throwback to the original films, and that's why I think I was really enjoying this one. It was kind of it's got a little twist. They, maybe or maybe not, one of the apes finds out that they're not all stupid. Maybe there is a human here or there that remembers how to talk. Uh-oh, what does that mean? But we have 8 more movies to find out what that means, apparently, if you heard at the top of the show. But all in, though, the action sequences are really good. The dialogue is well-driven. The pacing is really good. Because there is a lot of storytelling to kind of set up this next wave, which makes sense in the first of a trilogy, right? You got to do it. But overall, I was really pleased, and I think it's going to do well this weekend. I don't know how well, but I do think it'll be number one, and I'm excited to see where the franchise continues to go. I know I've been knocking franchises, but I'm excited to see where this one goes. It was really good. I enjoyed it. My number 5, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Go see it this weekend.
There you go. There you go. Yes, my number 4 goes to Past Lives. This one was an Oscar-nominated film, and I really enjoyed it. This is the definition of storytelling at its finest. And it's about two deeply connected childhood friends who rested or were completely torn apart when one child moved to the United States and the other child stayed in China or South Korea. And basically, they reconnect 20 years later, and they are reunited for one fateful week as they confront their notions of love and destiny. So basically, they were childhood sweethearts and thought they were going to be together forever until one family moved to the United States and one family stayed in South Korea. And I mean, you always go through situations where you think about relationships and you're like, what if that would have happened? What if this would have happened? And this is a great what if movie. And yeah, and it shows you the evolution of people's lives too, because so many people can change over so many years and over one situation or one experience can change a person for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
And this is a not a social experiment type of movie, so it's definitely worth the watch. Past Lives.
And this is the one with Greta Lee, right? Like, yeah, and I'm a huge fan of her. I think she's just phenomenal. And what I really like about this movie, the premise of this movie is, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Doesn't matter if it's decades later, if you're separated by continents or what. If it is meant to be, it will be meant to be, and it'll happen because that's how the universe plays out. So I love that premise of that movie. My number 4 is The Fall Guy, and I'd love to tell you all about it, but I'm not the kind to kiss and tell. Anybody my age will get that joke. It's the theme song from the television show, sung by Mr. Lee Majors. Okay, listen. I was skeptical about this. You guys know I was worried because I was a huge fan of the television show, and I was like, do we need another reboot of another 80s TV show? Should we touch this? I'm glad they touched it. It was really, really well done. I love the chemistry between Gosling and Blunt. I thought they were fantastic. The storyline is not exactly what you think it is. He's not a bounty hunter, but he is hired to go find the lead actor who's been mixed up with the wrong people and gets kidnapped, and he's got to go find him to finish the film. And the reason he's so in and willing to do that is because his former first AC and the love of his life is now, after they split, they've been apart for years, she's now a director, and this is her first big film, and he wants to make sure it's a huge success for her, so he agrees to go get the leading guy. But the whole premise, there's lots of twists and turns. There's lots of, wait a minute, didn't see that coming kind of a thing. It's all intentional, but it's so brilliantly done. All kinds of action from start to finish, obviously. It's about stunt people. So it's all about the stunts. And stay for the end credits because they do a fantastic job during the end credits of showing you all of the stunts being done in the film with the real stunt people. And so it's a love story to the stunt people. And the cameo from Lee Majors, Colt Seavers himself, and Heather Thomas, Jodie from the series. They're both in it, and you have to the payoffs at the end when you see them. Colt still looks pretty good. Lee Majors still pretty good, even though he's like almost 180. Or I don't know, he's real old, but he still looked pretty good. Heather Thomas. I had to double take to see if it was her. I was like, is that Jodie? Is that Heather Thomas? Oh, shit. Anyway, it's really good. And I'm disappointed that it's not doing better than I thoroughly enjoyed it. It gives you everything that you would think a summer blockbuster would have. It's got romance, it's got drama, it's got action, there's fun scenes, there's a karaoke scene where Blunt is just fucking killing Phil Collins. It's epic. There's a Taylor Swift moment where Gosling's crying his eyes out to All Too Well. Who the fuck wouldn't love that? It's everything, and yet it's not hitting the way the studio thought it was going to hit, and that's disappointing. But I loved it. My number 4, The Fall Guy.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was listening to a couple of different theories about this one, and the first one was they didn't the marketing was great, but it was kind of hard to gear or try to get a glimpse of what it was going to be. Was it like an action movie? Was it a comedy? Was it romance? And I guess they were saying that could be a little confusing. And then another point that I've never even really thought about was, is Ryan Gosling an actor for men? Because I mean that's a great point. A lot of his hits are like very female driven movies. They're very romance, they're not very he's not the typical idea of an action star. So the guys, I mean, that's a good point because I mean just coming off of Barbie, that's obvious. Crazy Stupid Love, obviously.
La La Land, like,
La La Land,
yeah,
like
yeah.
so I mean, I feel like that's a good point. Like is
Okay,
he's not the guy's guy.
I get that. I totally get that. But if you watch this film, it would change your mind. And I wish
Mm,
people would go see it because it's action throughout and he is whooping ass. He is like
mm.
with Aaron Taylor Johnson and all the people that he's like these huge guys, these action stars that he's like going head to head with and he's beating their asses. And he's like Winston Duke. There's a great fight scene with him and Winston Duke taking on a bunch of bad guys. And they're like fucking just like awesome, man. So if you want to be convinced that he's an action star, that he's a guy that can pull it off, watch this movie because he's ripped and he's fucking kicking ass. And yeah, dude, I think more. I'm gonna go on record and say this. I think this film will see massive numbers when it hits streamers.
I
I
bet it
think
does
people
too.
will
Yeah.
see it on streamers and go, shit, I should have seen this thing. Yeah, yeah, I really do predict that. I think it's going to be one that finds an audience on the streamers and does really well.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of completely set up my third one because that's kind of the way this happened. It was very good in the theaters, but it was also real doing really good numbers on Netflix too. And I'm talking about Anyone But You, Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney. I mean, I love this. I love this film. It's so good. It's one of my favorite rom-coms of all time. And just what they're able to do translating from theater to streaming, I think has been amazing. And Sydney Sweeney keeping in that mode of still promoting it and still talking about it. I mean, it was just a couple weeks ago where we talked about how she was the one who came up with the whole are they together, are they not together
Yeah.
ploy behind the scenes. That's so freaking smart. Everybody talks about, and we compared her to Marilyn Monroe. Everybody talks about her being a bottle blonde and this heartthrob doesn't have any brains when she was actually the valedictorian of her graduating class and
Yep.
all of these different things. Like, so she's super smart. But Anyone But You is a great film just to sit back, relax, and just laugh at. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and it always like it gives you that hope that you can find love even when you're not looking for it. But it's really good. Have you checked out this one yet?
I have. I did not see this one in the theaters. I did catch it on Netflix, and I loved every second of it. I thought it was
Right?
just a really great rom com. It was
Hmm.
fun. It wasn't your stereotypical rom com, which is maybe why
Yeah.
I liked it so much. Yeah, I thought it was well done from start to finish. I loved their chemistry, and so her idea to market that playing it up as that they were having an affair
Yeah.
was fucking brilliant because the chemistry was there between the two of them. And
Yeah.
it was a brilliant idea to do that. And this plays really well into my number three, which did not get theatrically released, but everybody that I'm seeing that has seen this movie agrees that it should have because they think it would do massive numbers at the theaters. It's another rom-com. It's called The Idea of You. And this is the one with Kate Hathaway, or Anne Hathaway, and it's where she's basically a divorced mom. The guy left her. He's got a new young wife, and she's just trying to get she's turning 40 and she's trying to figure life out or whatever. And the dad buys these like Coachella tickets, VIP access to his daughter's favorite band, but it's not her favorite band anymore. She's moved on, and so, but he's still all excited to bring her, and and her friends still like the band, so they're all excited about going or whatever. But long story short, the dad can't go, and ends up mom has to take them, and mom meets the boy band, and mom is hanging out in the VIP thing and has to go to the restroom, and she goes the wrong way, and she ends up in this dude's trailer, the lead singer of the boy band's trailer, and she thinks it's just a restroom. So she knocks on the door, and he's in there, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then he comes out, and he's like, "Waiting on the restroom?" "Yeah." And so she goes in, and then when she comes out, he's sitting there, and she realizes, fuck, this is not the restroom. This is this guy's trailer. What the fuck? But anyway, she kind of finds out he's the lead singer of the band. And she's starting to feel it in the crowd. And he sings to her, and he dedicates a song to her. And they start a romance. He's like 22, and she's 40, and he's the leader of a boy band. And they start this whirlwind romance. But they actually end up really falling in love with each other. But the pressure of that, the paparazzi outside the house, the shit the daughter is taking at school from friends, all the the ex-husband, like, what the fuck are you doing? Why is this kind of a thing? It causes pressure. She walks away from the relationship. And nobody's happy, and all kind of bad kind of things. But it has a happy ending. I'm not going to spoil what the ending is, but it has a happy ending. But it's one of those things, like what you just said. It's a very well done, I wouldn't say rom-com. It's more of a romantic dramedy. But it's very good about how sometimes life just happens and unexpected things happen, and you can fall in love and you don't really know who you're going to fall in love with. And what is age? Is it a right or wrong thing? How is it supposed to play out, kind of a thing? It's just a really well done story, and the chemistry with Anne Hathaway, and I wish I knew the guy's name that plays the lead. Remember the Netflix flick about the royalty, that red royal and blue, about the gay couple or whatever? It's him. He's the lead in it.
Nicholas Galstein.
Yes. The chemistry is outstanding. And what was really interesting is there's really the age gap. And so I just really loved this movie. So if you haven't checked it out yet, it's on Prime. And just check it out. It's a great movie. The idea
shout out to Brent
you.
Bailey. He's in it.
Yes. No. Oh my God. And his scene is hilarious. His scene with Anne Hathaway is fucking hysterical. So yeah, definitely check this one out. The Idea of You.
Yes, for sure. Well, our number 2 and 1 are both the same. And I mean, rightfully so, because both of these are really good freaking films. Number 2, Bob Marley, One Love.
Yep.
I feel like this is the way a biopic should be. Let the music flow you, let the music ride, but don't let it turn into a musical. I feel like that's very important, and it's a fine line, and I feel like they did really well at Paramount to do that. Our biggest critiques are the accents. The accents can be a little hard to listen to sometimes, but I mean, you got to make it as real as possible. But yeah, I think it was a great film, and I love everything about it. Like, honestly, I gave it a 5 out of 5 in my review list for this year so far. So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
No, yeah, and it's interesting that how you said that, like, don't make it a musical, because it is a biopic about the music of Bob Marley. It literally what he was trying to say with his music. And the performances are outstanding, but it never does cross the line of becoming a musical, even though the story is literally about his music. And to be able to craft that so well and not be able to get it wrong, yeah, it was brilliant. And he went all in. Listen, man, he was legit. There were points where even Bob Marley's own son couldn't understand what he was saying, and he said it reminded him so much of his dad because he couldn't understand his dad half the time. So that shows you the dedication of how in he was of playing this role. It was just, I loved it, and you can't help but walk out of it grooving. You're feeling the love, man. You're feeling the Bob Marley groove. You just want to go get high, put on some reggae, and live some life.
True.
Which I may or may not have done afterwards. I'm just saying, Bob Marley he was onto something. He was onto something.
Kingsley Ben-Adir.
Yes.
Kingsley Ben-Adir, who's played some very notable people. If you guys don't know. I mean, he was Malcolm X in One Night in Miami. Bob Marley. He was also one of the Kens in Barbie. He was Barack Obama in The Comey Rule.
Yep.
So he's played some freaking people, man.
He
That's
is
for freaking sure.
A phenomenal actor. I'm glad he's finally starting to get the recognition, because he is. If you can pull off fucking Barack Obama and Bob Marley and fucking Malcolm X, you're a motherfucking actor, okay? Because those are three drastically different individuals, and yet he was believable in every one of those roles. So this guy is killing it, man. He is killing
Completely agree.
Speaking of killing it,
number one films, speaking of, is Civil War, man. A24. This is a masterpiece, in my opinion. Like it's visually very, I don't want to say appealing, but I mean gravitating, I guess you could say.
You can't take your eyes off of it, but
you can't. It's hardcore. Like I didn't have any critiques about this film at all, because it's a very storytelling film, and like I guess probably us coming from broadcast journalism and being in the field and experiencing some crazy stuff like drew us in even more, because I mean that stuff happens. You are in the middle of it, and like, you know, people just ignore you and go by. Like when they're in actual like war fight scenes and like people just run by the press, that's really how it is.
No,
I mean, like we've seen dead bodies on crime scenes. We've been to crime scenes where there's active shooters. Like, all of these different things. So this film really took me back. I know you too, back to those situations, but it is also a mirror into society and what possibly could be. That's for sure.
I think you said that perfectly right now. I think this film was so well done that at points you forget that you're watching a movie and you feel like you are a correspondent traveling with this group in the middle of a war. You just feel like you're a part of what's happening, that you're now in it and watching this, which is intense. It's sometimes hard to watch. But it's so well done, and it gives you so much more respect for journalists and what they do. And what they're put through, and like you said, the things that you see, if you think you're able to desanitize, you think you're able to just wash it out of your mind and move past it. But this movie does an excellent example of showing you, even if you think that you have, you probably haven't. Like you said, I don't know. I know you and I have talked about it a little bit, but I have literally seen a man's flesh still melting off when he was burning inside a car. I have seen a dismembered body. I have seen a suicide brain splattered on the back of the wall. I have seen a victim of a train wreck. I've seen shooting victims. You think you move past that. You do not. And sadly, they stay. The good news, the happy news, when you report on an inaugural event or you report on a big party or they're fun, but they don't seem to stay with you. It's the other stuff that stays with you. And so even more so, this movie, it's a stark look at reality of what journalism really is, and then where this country is headed. And it's terrifying. And if you've come from the South, you can't watch this movie and not go, yeah, that's accurate. I know that guy. I've seen him at my gas station. I mean, it's and nobody wants to admit that, but you've seen that guy, and you know that that's possible, and that's why this movie is so terrifyingly good, and why probably it's both our number ones. So, if you haven't seen it, I will say this: it is not kid friendly. Do not take your young kids. I would say if you have teenagers and you're educating and informing and wanting them to be aware of what's happening in the world, take them, have that conversation, start the dialogue. But yeah, go see this film. It will certainly open your eyes.
Start a conversation.
And Kirsten Dunst, if she's not nominated for an Oscar, I will be literally shocked. I will be literally shocked.
They need to re-release this around
at the end of the year, because she definitely deserves it. She by far. Whew.
Agreed. Well, anyway, guys, that is our top 5 segment. Let us know what your favorite film of the year is so far. Please be sure to comment below in the YouTube comment section, Spotify, podcast, Apple Podcast, and X Threads, all the good places. We love the fan interaction.
Yes.
quickly going over the back half of the show. Box office recap last week. Like we said, Fall Guy did come in at number one. We were a little disappointed at the number, which is $27.7 million.
Yep.
Number two was Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace. Came in at number two with 8.7.
May the 4th be with you. Yeah.
And number three was Challengers, was 7.6 million. Tarot is number 4 with 6.5, and number 5 was Godzilla versus Kong, the New Empire, with 4.5 million. And the only new film really coming out is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So be sure to check that one out. Let's get it over 100 million, guys. Let's get it over 100 million domestically for the weekend.
Let's see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm thinking probably like 70-ish.
Really? I think the estimates are going to hold in the mid 50s. I think, unfortunately, but I would give it 100 million. I loved it, but we'll see.
I know. It's crazy. Movies you can still go see right now: Abigail, Civil War, Unsung Hero, Kung Fu Panda 4, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which is about hit streamer, so you might as well just wait for that one.
Yep.
IMDb Pro's top trending segment. The top trending movie is Challengers. Ooh, that's a conversation starter.
Oh, yeah.
I put that one in the same category as The Social Network, where there's really not anyone to cheer for, but it's just a really good movie.
It's
like,
definitely...
You're not going to be like, oh, I like this person, I like that person.
Yeah,
I didn't like any of them.
In fact, it should have been an honorable mention on our top 5 list. It deserves to be in the top 5, but yeah, that's for another discussion. But check out Challengers if you haven't seen it. It's an interesting one.
For sure. Top trending TV show is Fallout on Amazon Prime. I've heard a lot of people talking about this recently, so that makes sense. And Neva Mao is the top trending star, so that's very exciting. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for getting crazy with us on episode 258 of ITCAF Podcast. We got to thank our guest one more time, Carrie James, for coming on the show and getting a little crazy with us.
Yes.
Man, that was such a fun conversation. Be sure to follow him on Instagram, and be sure to follow us on social media. Of course, our new film page, The LP Film. Please be sure to follow that. We just started that on Wednesday. Get all your behind-the-scenes look at everything that we have going on in pre-production, production, post-production, all the good things.
All the good things.
And then, you can follow the podcast at ITCAFpodcast, the company at Crazy Ant Media, and then, of course, our other podcast, where a new episode just came out about bullying.
Yes.
At Everything's OKP. So be sure to check that out. And then you guys know you can follow us both personally on social media, myself at JLoganAustin, and
at Crazy Ant CEO.
That's right, man. That's right. And be sure to subscribe to this podcast anywhere you listen to your podcast. We're on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Stitcher, and so much more.
Yes.
And be sure, if you're watching this video on YouTube, hit that like button below, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell for all the latest and greatest notifications that we got coming out of Crazy Ant Media.
So much.
And man, oh man, so much happening. And be sure to visit our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. We got the shirts, we got the hats, we got anything and everything you need for your moms this Mother's Day.
Yes.
So be sure to check out that. But man, what an episode. Quite a lot, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's what happens when we take a week off. It's like, fuck, everything is happening. What is going on? But this is your one-stop shop, man. We will tell you what's happening. We will tell you what's going down. And but yeah, I like anytime we can talk about positive things, and there was a lot of positive things in the news this week, so that's always good. I hate sometimes it's dredging, right? Sometimes we're like, oh man, everything sucks. But there's a lot of good stuff happening in Hollywood right now, and we're excited about it, and just plays into what's going on with us and all the good stuff that's going on with our company right now. And so this is the times we love to live for, man. It's like, yeah, this is when we want to come on, do the show and go, yeah.
That's right, man. Oh man, but it's been an amazing week. It's been an amazing ride. And then, of course, to end this ride, we have to pay homage to the one, the only
Oprah!